Here we are, another beautiful morning. My guy B Maestro has a song. It goes like, everything new, everything fresh. God go do you show. This year, it's not too late, yeah? It's a new day, new morning. It's a new week that we're kick-starting, and it's also a new me. Oh yeah, why not? I didn't mean Benjamin Fufro. The reason is this. I died when I slept overnight. I resurrected when I woke up this morning. Think about it. The little things we take for granted, like sleeping and waking up. Somewhere in the world today, even right here in Ghana, someone slept, the alarm rang, the person didn't wake up. So don't take for granted. Don't think it's your inalienable right that when you sleep, you must wake up. God has been gracious to us. So it's a brand new you. Let's celebrate. Let's be joyful. It's Christmas week. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. This is the AM Show. Now, what can you expect? I'll be serving you the AM news shortly. Afterward, joining me for the news review will be Dr. Paul Wachidankwa, his spokesperson, Governance and Security for Government. Nanaya Achapim Jantua, his favorite person, former General Secretary of the CPP and also of the PURC, will be joining us. And then we'll also have Kofi Kapito, Chief Executive of the Consumer Protection Agency. That will be followed by sports with Muftar Nabila Abdullahi, and then we get into our big stories. Now, number one on the chopping board, the National Democratic Congress is livid. It's totally rejecting the results of 7 of the recollated constituencies in favor of the NPP and is warning the Electoral Commission of electoral crime that has no expiry date. Now, think about that. We'll be delving into that controversial issue of recollation and what has actually led to these 7 constituencies being, well, handed to the NPP via, supposedly, the decision of the people. But also today, we'll be interacting with some key entities when it comes to this year and everything that has happened through. We're going to talk to the importers and exporters. We're going to interact with GUTA. We'll be hearing from their representatives in respect of how the year has been for their businesses, what their expectations are in the coming year under a new administration. And of course, what is the show without you? Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful world. We'd love to hear from you. Uhuru, right? What are your thoughts? Share them with us via social media. And if we activate the phone lines, be one of those to call. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for joining me. I'll be serving you the news shortly. Let me serve you the news now. And in our first story, the Council of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools has advised a government against reopening schools until all outstanding arrears owed the schools and suppliers have been paid. In a statement addressed to the Minister for Education, CHAS indicated the critical need for these payments for the running of the schools, without which an obvious challenge will be occasioned, forcing their inability to reopen the schools. Now, if you look at the statement that CHAS has given, it's addressed to the Honorable Minister, Ministry of Education, and it says, urgent request for release of all outstanding funds to schools. Point 1, we refer to our earlier correspondence regarding the financial challenges facing schools across the country, dated the 20th of September 2024 and 12th August 2024. We also wish to recall the assurances given by you, the Honorable Minister for Education, during our recent Zoom meeting held on Wednesday, the 18th of December 2024, where you promised to release funds to schools to enable effective school operations. While we acknowledge the recent disbursement of some funds to schools, we regret to inform you that this release has not fully addressed the critical financial needs of our institutions. Specifically, all recurrent money owed to schools remain unpaid. Arrears for perishable items are yet to be settled. The recent disbursement of funds appears to have excluded single-track and day schools, leaving them facing significant financial constraints. Funds for transporting food items from distribution centers to schools have not been released, creating logistical and financial burdens for school heads. And some schools have not received funds to cover essential utility bills, posing a threat to the smooth operation of schools. Now, they state that given these outstanding financial obligations, we strongly urge the Ghana Education Service to prioritize the immediate release of all outstanding recurrent money, arrears for perishable items, and they say take note of exclusion of boarding schools in recent disbursement, funds to cover transportation costs for food items, funds to settle outstanding utility bills. And getting to the tail end, they also add, we believe that these funds are critical in the successful reopening of schools on January the 3rd, 2025. Without these resources, school heads will face insurmountable challenges in managing daily operations, providing quality education, and ensuring the well-being of students. It goes on, but then those are the crucial points made by CHAS in respect of schools not being able to reopen. Now, in our next story, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Ablekuma North constituency, Irabena Obin, has called on the judiciary to maintain its independence in addressing issues stemming from the recent December elections. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, she stated that failing to uphold the parliamentary election results in her constituency could set a dangerous precedent. The Electoral Commission on Saturday announced results for 7 out of 9 outstanding parliamentary constituencies, with all declared seats going in favor of the NPP. This announcement followed a clearance by an Accra High Court to proceed with the collation. However, the process encountered disruptions when returning officers for Dome Kwabenya and Ablekuma North halted the collation midway. They insisted that all political parties had to submit their pink sheets before the process could continue.
All of this happening dents our electoral laws and processes. The judiciary shouldn't get involved in such anomaly because they should act as independent bodies. The people must have confidence in them. We should be able to run to them when we feel compelled to, and we expect them to give verdicts that are fair and acceptable to either side. I was in court when our lawyer was trying to place an injunction on the whole process so that the right things are done. The evidence tendered at the law court wasn't even looked at. But the judge went ahead and threw all of us out of the courts. And when these things keep happening because a group of people are in power and are in charge of affairs, then we ask ourselves, when power changes hands and another group decides to revert and do the same or counter, where does this take our nation? We only have one Ghana. So let us respect our own electoral laws. Let us respect the will of the people. Let us respect lay down procedures and acceptable practices so that we can have some peace of mind to go about our daily lives and affairs. Politics is not the end of the world. I mean, going into a contest, I'm sure every mature person will go into a contest with a win attitude. But then you should make room if it doesn't go as expected too. But in the case of Ablekuma North and the NPP, it's beginning to look like an insult to the conscience of the people of Ablekuma North.
Now, Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, has accused the outgoing NPP government of illegally recruiting and promoting about 10,000 people into the public sector. Addressing a mini rally in Sunyani as part of his victory tour of the Bono region, Esiedun Ketia alleged the move was to overburden the incoming NDC government. He, however, assured measures would be taken to revoke such recruitments. Precious Semevo has more.
The Bono Regional Victory Tour of the chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, to thank the chiefs and people focused on Sunyani East and West, Brekum East and West, and Doma East and Tyne constituencies. The NDC won 11 out of 12 parliamentary seats in the region and a resounding victory for John Mahama. The tour was also an opportunity for the elected MPs to directly appreciate the supporters. Addressing a mini rally in Sunyani, Esiedun Ketia said the massive victory is a reflection of the collective hard work. He, however, noted that the NDC will challenge the German South seat in court.
Yaba 11-1 and 11 and half everyone. Omonya hobwa na half na aka nokura no yebegidi nyina. Every say Drobo hono a omonya half nokura no emu na ho ye twan say yebegazeti awie na yedi asem na court. Ye nim say kro no e course no. Yesani mu a
He said the NDC will revoke all illegal recruitments allegedly made by the NPP.
Appointment letters immigration, customs, health insurance, one bedroom MP one more can you man appointment letter. Now you date in our college. Obi on fata promotion. You see, you lose your MPP for a word you mamono. Yama mo promotion now mo codi di enumanani. Sadia baya NDC for bar. Yentimi yajuma. No kacha omo say. Saafu onu nyina. Ona kwa mwane so. Eko jisa ajuma noa. Mesra obasaya bafie MP awaria o kofie no obasya o say kire appointment letters ma we no wodi awoti adwuma mo ye baba beto ho.
Acting president of the Sunyan Traditional Council, Nana Kwaku Sabin, called for a peaceful and smooth transition and appealed for promises made to be honored. We were
not expecting she would be apart from NDC. In the mobile, Yering Road, no, dear, Seremo,
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyai.
In our next story, the Upper West Regional Director of the Food and Drugs Authority, Kevin Dafa Sungpal, has urged Ghanaians to carefully inspect products during the festive season to ensure they are wholesome and not expired. He warned that this period often saw unscrupulous individuals selling expired and wholesome, dented or bloated products. Sungpal gave this advice after his office destroyed 5,371 non-compliant products seized over the past 12 months in Wa. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports from Wa.
The Food and Drugs Authority was established with the objective to provide and enforce standards for the sale of food, herbal medicinal products, cosmetics, drugs, medical devices, and household chemical standards. Close with this mandate, the Upper West Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority during the market surveillance activities between January and December seized some items considered to be expired, unwholesome, dented, and bloated. The products were therefore carted to the refuse dumping site on the Wabua Road for safe disposal. The team of officials from the Upper West Office of FDA were led to the refuse site by the Upper West Regional Director of the FDA, Kevin Dafa Sungpal, for the safe disposal exercise. He ensured that the products were safely disposed of and bent into ashes.
Majority of the product you are seeing are cosmetic products. We have this ingredient we call the hydroquinone. So we have told manufacturers of this product that they should take away that ingredient because it bleaches the skin. So, but within the year, from January to December, we did a lot of exercise in it, and we have withdrawn these products from the market. We initially started telling the manufacturers to remove the ingredient at all from them, but still they managed their way to put it there, so we have taken it off. We also have beverages, Coca-Cola, other drinks that are expired. It's not that they are expired. There are beverages there, then Fanta drinks, and there's a lot of carbonated drinks. So we also have in the mix aphrodisiacs that are not registered by the Food and Drugs Authority. We have expired medicinal products that are not also wholesome. So some of them are registered, but because they are expired or they are not well stored. So that's why they will seize them and we are disposing of them off today.
Kevin Dapar Songpal could not immediately put the exact monetary value to the disposed items, but they believed it is worth thousands of Ghana cedis.
We are disposing about 5,371 non-compliant products. When we say they are non-compliant, that means they have not met the requirement for the Food and Drugs. So it's about 5,379 products that we are disposing of.
In terms of street value, how much?
It's several thousands of cedis.
What happened to the owners of these products? Have they been allowed to go scot-free? Here's his answer.
Some of them, depending on the quantum of products we pick from your shop, they are tobacco products here. Cigarette that is not registered, they are part of this product. So normally what we do is that once we pick it, the Public Health Act is clear on it. We prosecute, or we have what we also call administrative charge. So but most of them, we activate the administrative charge, we charge them, they pay, and we pick up the product. Some of them too, we go to court. A lot of the cases we went to court, and at the end of the day, the court fined them. So they pay their monies, and we still have to dispose of these goods.
The Abawas Regional Director of the FDA has this message for Ghanaians, especially going into the festive season.
Around this time, almost every year, we see that people offload their goods from their warehouses that are by expiring to the hinterlands, the villages, because they think that when at the villages, they don't look for expiry date, they don't check for before they eat them. So we are using this opportunity to tell people that at least during this festive period, make sure that you use your money to buy a wholesome product for your household. Don't use your money to go and buy something that will give you trouble later on. A lot of us at this time will go to restaurants or drinking bars to drink and to eat. So at this time, let's try as much as possible that at least when you see someone who is selling food by the street side, a food vendor or a restaurant owner, and the person is doing something that is not right, please try as much as possible to either correct the person or even stop buying food from the person. Once people don't buy, they don't also patronize. If you have anything that you think the Food and Drugs Authority should know, in the region, we don't go on break. We work through the break time, through the Christmas, every time we're around, so you can just contact us.
Reporting for Dway News, Rafik Salam. Wah.
For children in rural communities in the Upper East region, standing on stage and competing in a spelling contest before hundreds of people can only be a dream, something they only see on television. However, children in the Nabdam district have had the chance to live this dream, courtesy of Nappiness Network, a youth-led organization which organized the largest spelling contest in the region's history, providing a life-changing experience for 42 junior high school students from 21 schools. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Held at the state-of-the-art auditorium of the Gibeath Ha Elohim Spiritual Center, the spelling contest was a dream come true for these basic school students who are from rural communities of the Nabdam district where such opportunities are extremely scarce. 42 contestants from 21 schools demonstrated their literary prowess by spelling words pronounced to them, standing before a packed crowd of fellow students, parents, community members, and traditional leaders.
The word again, industry. Industry, I-N-D-U-S-T-R-Y, industry. That's correct. Next fella, please.
The guest of honor, the Dean of the School of Nursing and Midwifery at the University for Development Studies, Dr. Vida Yakong, emphasized the importance of literature in shaping young minds.
What is the situation globally when we talk of literacy? 250 million children are failing to acquire basic literacy. 17 sustainable goals, and the goal that we are dealing with today is that of education, which is Sustainable Development Goal 4. So we are all entreated to ensure that by 2030, all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. And those learning outcomes cannot be achieved if we don't start doing what we're doing today.
As the competition progressed, those who failed to spell their words correctly were eliminated from it until a winner was determined. Regina Nagrog, a Basic 8 student of the Congo Junior High School, emerged as the winner of the spelling contest. Overjoyed by her experience, she expressed confidence that this achievement would propel her toward realizing her academic aspirations.
I am happy to be the winner because it is not easy for you to sit there and contest. It's not only about the winning, but when you sit there, you can experience some of the words that you weren't able to spell, but you are able to write them down, or you are able to hear some people spelling them. I would like to be a nurse.
Organizers of the spelling contest, Nappiness Network, aim to transform lives through education, mentorship, and community engagement. The name Nappiness symbolizes the fusion of nature and happiness, embodying the pursuit of positive emotions and life satisfaction. Sandra Sori is the founder.
The initiative we are running is very new to the environment. Looking for sponsorship for initiatives like this is very difficult, but moving forward we are hoping that as we have started something like this and as the participation has been great, the program will be able to speak for itself. It will be able to make the community understand that we are looking at giving the children better educational opportunities.
Traditional leaders who attended the event praised Nappiness Network for organizing the contest and appealed to sponsors and education stakeholders to support future initiatives to ensure more children benefit from such enriching experiences.
So let us remain in our classrooms, learn. Tomorrow we will become mining engineers. To make sure that you take your education seriously. My dear ladies, learn very well. It is not time for you to go for men.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Damoltindo.
Welcome to business. Now, economist Professor Lord Mensah is warning of low productivity at various government sector workers' institutions for the first quarter of 2025 due to the failure of Parliament to approve the over 68 million Ghana cedi mini budget. Now, his concerns follow the Minister of Finance's absence in Parliament to lay before the House the expenditure in advance of appropriation for the first quarter of 2025. Reacting to the development, Professor Mensah warned of serious consequences on the economy going forward.
And Parliament needs to understand that Parliament is just a subset of the country. And trust me, with this delay, there's a serious economic consequence to it, which we may take it for granted, but it's a deep one. Already, we have an economy that is, well dominated by government business. And so if there's a delay in government budget reading, trust me, the economic consequence is a huge one. So we know what is on the budget, salary payment. We know what is on the budget, talking about interest payment, talking about goods, expenditure on goods and services. And even in terms of revenue, mobilization. I mean, any attempt that government will, go about mobilizing revenue would tend to be kind of illegality because, there should be kind of approval of budget in Parliament before government can go ahead to, mobilize revenue to meet up the necessary expenditures that's supposed to be. So people on the street can decide not to pay, their tithes, their taxes and all those, and nothing can happen. So for me, I think what they are doing, they shouldn't think it's just happening in the chamber, but then, or maybe trying to squeeze one or way or the other, another government who is coming to power or trying to, arrange some kind of economic bomb that the next administration is likely to come and meet or something. But they should understand that this goes beyond, just, Parliament. It's the Ghanaian economy we are looking at. Delay in payments in salaries, delay in payment For salaries, it can demoralize workforce and production can go down completely.
In our second business-related story, human resource practitioners have been urged to push for an increase in investments geared towards the mental well-being of employees. According to the hospital director at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Kojo Boafwobing, the continued relegation of mental health, the mental health of employees at workplaces is inimical to the success and vision of companies. He spoke to Joy Business at a donation by KGL to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
Anybody's not sleeping as well as they should be. Anybody's not able to concentrate. Anybody finds themselves getting more easily annoyed than they should be by little things. All of these are signs that your mental health might not be at 100%, and you might benefit from talking to a mental health professional. You might not need medication, but at least you might benefit from talking to a mental health professional. And it's important for maintaining your mental health that you exercise regularly, you eat healthy food, a healthy balanced diet, and you get adequate amounts of sleep. But if all of this is failing and you're not able to manage your day-to-day activities well, please come in and talk to a mental health professional. So it's a good supplement for mental health care. So it can't replace face-to-face interactions with a human being who understands your culture and can adapt their message to where you're coming from. But once you have engaged with a mental health professional and it's being used as an additional tool.
Well, I don't own a duku, but it's a wrap for the news. Thank you for staying up. Next, the news review. Dr. Paul Grape, Wache Dankwa, Nanaya Achapim Jantwa, Kofi Kapito. Join us on the review. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Well, thank you for choosing us. This is the AM News Review, and my guests will be joining me. Here in the studio, though, I have Kofi Kapito. He is Chief Executive, Consumer Protection Agency. Kofi,
Ben, Afishiapa.
What are you going?
You're
looking fly this morning.
I'm trying to be like the boys, you know.
The boys. Hey, you be senior boys.
They flex. Show BB to
what shall BB to from the cap to the stylish frames to the gray beard, to the key. Charlie, show them your bangle and your watch. And you can't spot his sandals, but
they'll see you later.
Charlie.
They'll see you later.
What drip it? It's good to see you this morning.
Likewise, let me take the opportunity to wish all Ghanaians, especially consumers, since it's their festive time, we should be very, very careful as to what you buy and what you eat.
Yeah.
I know people have this streak under their under their sleeves, reduce the clear. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's nothing wrong in reduce the clear, but the consumer should be aware that maybe the thing is going to expire in a very short time. So mind the quantity that you buy.
Right.
If you buy over and you keep it beyond the date, you are doing harm to yourself. So it is very, very interesting at this time of the year. But I'm glad that some authorities are doing what they are doing, which is their best. I would like to congratulate the FDA, who does a lot of post-market inspection, the Standard Authority, whose job is to see that goods that come into our country meets the standard, and various MMDCs and all that, that's supposed to check the market. I'll say Merry Christmas, but consumer beware.
Right, consumer beware. You seem to re-echo, I think, one of the regional directors or the regional director of the Upper East or Upper West region, one of those, when it comes to the Food and Drugs Authority. In the news, that came up that, listen, be careful what you buy within this period. But there are some entities that are responsible. I'll not mention the name of the pharmacy, but or maybe I should, because it's a good thing. So I went to Ernest Chemists, the airport branch, and they are very responsible, actually. There were some goods reduced to clear, and they told me that, oh, as for this one, the actual price was this. We've reduced it to this, but it's also because there are about 2-3 months left on this. So you should know before you make the purchase. You get it? This is many months ago. It was okay, I'll not mention what it was. But it was good. That is good customer service. That is good. You are letting the person know in advance that this is the situation. So you'd probably have to consume it within this period.
The 3 months.
And I did that for the product, weighing, the different options and all of that. So it's important that we do these things. Entities ought to be more responsible. Another thing that this person from the Food and Drugs Authority mentioned when the news was going on was that some entities, especially those based in Accra, right, when Christmas is approaching, a lot of their products that are about to expire or have expired, they'll cart them off to other parts of the country, rural areas, assuming that our brothers and sisters there will not take the time to look at labeling or bother about, product safety or check whether it's expired or the best before date and all of those things. You get it. And that is also, it's criminal. It's criminal. And we shouldn't be doing this to human beings. You've killed somebody, you don't know it, but before God, you've committed murder.
It's agreed. It's very, very, somebody told me a story that because God knew that if he doesn't sack Satan from heaven, Satan will actually destroy all the angels. So that's why God sacked Satan from heaven. So human beings are human beings. And it's not just in Ghana. Everywhere human beings are human beings. But the challenges is how the enforcement is done in other jurisdictions. This is a country that even when the agencies try to do what is right, a section of Ghanaians will criticize them. Sometimes even the media, without even listening to the other side to find out why. Look, the responsibility of Food and Drugs Authority, it is the safety of Ghanaians, period. So if they shut a company down, that does not mean they cannot reopen the company. They shut it down based on investigations that they are doing. And at any given time, they would reopen the business so that they will go back to work. If the business feel like it was done to them unlawfully, they have the right to take them to court.
Okay.
But let's support them when they do those things because it's for our own safety.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me also welcome aboard Nanaya Achepem Jantoa, former General Secretary of the CPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
What are your thoughts for us this morning?
This morning, my thought is on Ghana. All these...
Election.
I mean, why this recollation and all that? Good morning to your viewers. To be very honest, it doesn't make sense to me. And if these people have been declared winners, why recollate? We talked about it the last time.
But it's the recollation that has made them winners.
That's what I'm saying. But so why do you...
So the ones that were declared
winners, so who made a mistake?
Well, if you look at, I believe it's Ablekuma North, you have Irabna Obin complaining about the situation, suggesting arm twisting, suggesting that even when they went to the High Court, the court did not even consider what they had brought, and threw them out, and threw them out, and the process went ahead. So now I think it's left with Domiko Abenya and one other.
That one I've heard the presiding officer said.
Constituents. But just to situate as you move on, Nanaya, I've heard the rhetoric of, listen, if you do this, when we come to power, we shall also pursue certain legal remedies, and it's creating quite a quite an unnecessary storm, isn't it?
No, but you see, nobody wants to be cheated. I beg you. I have been declared a winner. Then the next moment, somebody says it is wrong. So it is whose fault? I was declared a winner. So if NDC wants to take it to court, I don't see they are creating any unnecessary tension. If I've been declared a winner, it's a seat that belongs to my party. And why do you change it? If I have not been declared, in Sawama Dweji, the NDC guy was declared the winner. So what has changed? That you go and do recollation and say that now I belong to somebody. That is what is creating tension.
So the two narratives, and we have to address this quickly and get into the papers. The two narratives
but you
are,
let me talk or you
this.
interrupt me.
Okay, then go ahead. Because you are not making certain points, and I'm just trying to add on to the points so that you address them.
I am just saying that whatever it is, there was a declaration for one or two people, and now they have come back for recollation. What is the essence of that? Because there was an argument over it. That should not be the case. If I have been declared the winner, I've been declared the winner. The law is that gazette it, then go to court. There are people who stayed in parliament for so long a time, and their seats, yes, they were still litigating over it. So, I mean, I don't understand. Yesterday, I saw an interview with Professor Adai, and yes, and he was saying that it will be disastrous for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to remove Charlotte, the Chief Justice. Yes, why? When Charlotte was being removed, who said what?
Did you say the Chief Justice or the Electoral Commission?
The two of them. He said the Chief Justice and the Electoral Commission, it will be a disaster for him to remove them. Do you get it? But the EC has, she's committed so many blunders. Where from this even last minute blunder, my dear? This last minute blunder, where is it coming from? I mean, seriously, I'm surprised that all these things are panning out. Because, for instance, is it Boame's place? I watched TV, and they said that some of the pink sheets were not available, so they were collating based on 75% of results. And somebody won. Now it has changed.
But I can ask you a question. Are they supposed to declare based on 75%?
No.
It's not like the presidential.
So Kofi Kapito, and those were the other issues I wanted to bring.
Yeah, I'm asking.
Two issues that, Kofi, I would like you to respond to, and then we can get into the papers. You must look at it from both angles.
Sure.
The NPP says in a number of these places, collation of the totality of the polling stations had not been conducted. But the point too is that if maybe you've counted, if there are, let's say, 71 polling stations, and you've counted about 65 or 67, and you know the number left, and even if you add all of that number to one candidate, it doesn't make any difference.
Yes.
You can go ahead. But in some instances, there were large numbers of such polling stations that are not yet been counted. The EC claims that in some areas, the returning officers had been coerced under duress to deliver the verdict. So that is their argument, that from their end as EC, we hadn't completed our processes. So we had to complete our processes. Therefore, recollation. I heard, I think, Banabio talk about, was it 1996 and then 2004. But at least per what I have heard, what I have read, what I know, is that some of the circumstances in 2004 where recollation was allowed may not necessarily be the instance now in CI 127.
Yes.
That is a problem.
Yes.
But then this idea too in law that once you have collated, whatever the results may be, if any remedies must be sought, I believe you have to go to the High Court.
What?
So it's a tricky affair because after all is said and done, some people will definitely feel disgruntled. And it also doesn't create a very, I don't know whether to call it transparent situation when out of 9, 7 have all gone one way. Do you get it? So there are so many things to reflect on when it comes to this. What is your quick take?
But you know what? We live in a country where people that are put in charge of institutions don't think about Ghana. Because if we did, these things will not happen. You remember when Donald Trump called the governor that can you give me 11,000 votes? The governor told him, Mr. President, I cannot.
Yeah, yeah.
You get my point?
That was in 2016.
Yeah. You get my point?
2020.
No, to 2020. When Biden came,
yeah.
When Biden came,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He still cries that the election was stolen.
Yeah.
But Biden was the president for...
The point is that...
Please let him make his point.
No, Ben, you said something, but...
Sure.
You said something. You said that the people said they were coerced.
I was going to go there.
Yeah.
So if you easy, okay, how you find out your people, you don't hold your people accountable.
Right.
Okay, and to me, that's why I say people who are put in positions don't think like Ghanaians. It's as simple as that. Look, what does the LI say? The CI something.
127.
127. It is obvious. Okay, do you know Donald Trump has made America to become like an African country? Let me tell you what. Gore versus. Yeah. Do you know the case? Do you know the case is still in court?
It is? It's
yes,
still being investigated.
Yes.
I remember that was the 2000 election where he lost.
Where he lost.
George Bush.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was Florida.
Florida.
It's still there.
You get my point?
Yeah.
So the question is, why don't you allow institutions and systems to play out? That is my problem.
Let me also play devil's advocate here. Sure. How do we also avoid a SAL situation in this kind of scenario? You even remember that
SAL situation?
Yeah.
It's not about the SAL situation.
Akpafu, Likpe and Lolobi situation. How do we avoid that? Because once this is being litigated, we realize that even in Parliament, it's going to be problematic.
No, it shouldn't.
There's no South.
It shouldn't be. Parliament is supposed to do Parliament business, which is the people's business, not the party's business. And that's what we tend to do. Look, I'll tell you what. And when they say...
Can you have an MP whose legitimacy is being contested be in Parliament?
Well, I mean, I think we've had...
That's the question.
We have a few people.
Because there are injunctions and all of that. It means that there is no one who can stake a claim to it, and that may mean a lack of representation.
Yeah, but the gentleman, I've forgotten his name, who they took to court from the Western region or Central region. One of those people.
Is it Yachi Kwesen?
Yeah, Yachi Kwesen.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
I don't know whether it's...
I'm just saying, let the system play out so that nobody will... Look, there will be winners and there will be losers.
So just to end this conversation, from where you sit, the EC should have allowed the processes which state that if you have a concern on the parliamentary...
Go to court.
Go to the High Court.
It's as simple as that.
They should have washed their hands off.
Wash their hands off. Let the court decide. Because that's why we have the courts.
All right, thank you. That's the same thinking you have, right?
Yes, Ben, I mean, I don't understand what is going on truly. Because you see, when Jean Mensah announced the presidential elections, she said that they are left with, I think, 9 constituencies or so. And that even if you add everything to Dr. Bawumia, he will not win.
Right.
Do you get me?
Right.
So there was an outstanding, but still she declared.
Right.
So if these people are saying that there are some outstanding polling stations that they have not counted, why did they declare? If it's going to have an impact on the final results. Jean Mensah said that what is left will not have any impact. So it is okay. I can announce. But you are saying that there are some others waiting. So if you think it will have an impact, why declare?
All right. And that is a question that Samson Lade put to Frank Davies over the weekend on Newsfile. I have to do this before we get into the papers. Do you think with all these actions, and I keep reiterating that I go back to, was it 2016? Thereabouts, or a little after Jean Mensah was made EC chair. I had her first media conversation. She had it with
her, okay.
And in that conversation, I remember asking her, on the back of the nature which Charlotte Osei was taken out and you were brought in, are you concerned that in future, if there's a change in government? I remember that question clearly. She said that she wasn't really bothered. She was going to do her work and that she wasn't really thinking about those things. Do you think the EC chair should start thinking about such scenarios now, that maybe her actions warrant?
Let me answer.
On the back of what happened.
Let me answer it by saying that their actions depicts or suspicion, or some individual feeling that you are leaning towards a particular person. Same thing happened to Charlotte Say, who was accused. Actually, she was accused of...
Hers was procurement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Procurement, right? But the question is, we cannot do this to ourselves as Ghanaians. Ben, you see, I'm tired of people talking about political parties. Let's think about Ghana. Because at the end of the day, no political party comes to campaign to tell me that I'm only here for my political party.
Right.
All say they are here for Ghana. So people who have opportunity to serve the nation, it's just like a security man. Your job is to protect the nation.
So do you disagree with Professor Day?
That what?
When he says the removal of the EC chair, and is it not the law we should follow?
No, that's
the law says the wrong thing has been
done.
If
the law says, as Charlotte said, if they said they found that it was procurement that she got herself in trouble with, fine. Maybe this Jimensa too, they will find something on her that can justify her removal. You get my point? Look, the National Security Advisor, Kandapa, even was worried about... No, I'm talking about Kandapa, the National...
He's Minister for National Security.
Minister for
Minister, right?
That's Kandapa.
Okay, yeah. He was even worried at a certain time that he was able to say that some of the judgments...
Oh, I remember.
Yeah!
That they're a bit funny.
They're a bit funny.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If he feels...
He was talking of judgments in favor of the
NPP.
His party.
His party.
Right.
Okay, look, a guy like PC Appeal for it.
Yeah.
Do you know why they could not remove PC Appeal for it? PC Appeal for it stood with the people that brought him in. PC Appeal for it, if it wasn't the fact that he decided not to go anymore, he will still be an MP.
Okay, let's get into the papers. It's getting exciting, and for those of you just joining the conversation, we have Nanaya Achepem-Jantua, former General Secretary of the CPP and formerly with the PURC. We also have Kofi Kapito, he's Chief Executive of the Consumer Protection Agency. I'm going to start so that I set the example of going very quickly so that we can do the papers very quickly. Let me just leave it at that. Economy Times is where I'm starting. FDI shrinks in value by 39% first 9 months of 2024. Untamed inflationary trend to cut growth in Ghana as Deloitte see further surge amidst Christmas spending. Tax concerns in Mahama's next government. So let me just do those very quickly. Foreign direct investments legally registered in the country for the first 9 months of 2024 has increased slightly in volume, but has shrunk in value, according to figures from the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. From January to September 2024, the total number of projects registered by the center was 108, compared with 100 projects during the same period in 2023. The total estimated investment cost was $325.88 million, compared with $536.68 million recorded in 2024, representing a sharp decrease of 39.28%. That is minus 39.28%. This comprised FDI component of $316 million and local component of $9.88 million. Total initial transfers amounted to $22.1 million, compared with $30.83 million recorded in 2023. And that too was a drop of 28%, minus 28%. Then, untamed inflationary trend to cut growth in Ghana as Deloitte see further surge amidst Christmas spending. Deloitte West Africa has raised concerns over the surge in inflationary trends in the last quarter of 2024 in Ghana and Nigeria. Now this, the professional accounting firm believes, could affect the rate of economic growth in both West African economic giant nations, as a further surge is expected in December due to the Christmas and New Year festive spending. Quoting the entity, it says, the results of rising inflation is that businesses face higher costs while consumers have to cut spending, worsening the ongoing cost of living crisis. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, President-elect John Dramani Mahama his promise to cut or abolish a number of taxes in his 120 days of governance has faced mixed concerns from the public. Now, while other stakeholders of society uphold that it is unrealistic for the next Mahama administration to cut or abolish some of the taxes, that is e-levy, the COVID-19 levy, and the 10% levy on sports betting, as it will affect the economy while affecting the moral standard of the young population. Some economists believe otherwise. An economist, Dr. Theo Champong, has stated that there will be minimal impact on public finances when the e-levy and COVID levy are removed. In his analysis of these two taxes, he explained that together they raised 3.259 billion Ghana cedis, or $296 million in 2023, accounting for 2.4% of total domestic revenue. And I listened to him, and basically what he's saying is that it's not going to have that much of an impact. But I've also heard, as I come to you, Nanaya, I have heard the likes of Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa state that, look, if oral, and I hear there are over 400 petitions that have been sent so far to the oral team, if oral is done right, we can get 18 plus billion, okay, Ghana cedis that has been siphoned into people's pockets, so to speak, or that has corruption tainting it. And that way, we can sustain the economy. What do you make of that? Let's start from there, and then you can get into the other stories.
I had it yesterday, and I was wondering if some mathematics had been done concerning the inflows we get from the taxes we are going to scrap. That is when you can really juxtapose to see.
But those are some of the calculations that Theo Champong
they said 1 billion
is doing. For him, he feels it's not going to make that much of a difference. But let's face it, why are we still paying the COVID-19 levy? Why?
We don't have to. COVID-19 should go. All the taxes that they said should go, should go.
Do you think the sports betting tax should go as well?
It should go.
Because people are saying it's also
a deterrent.
It's a vice, and this puts a cap on, like you said, deterrent.
It's a deterrent.
I'm an advocate for that it should not be scrapped.
It should not be scrapped.
No. Right.
I mean, for most...
I've heard Senor Jose say it should even be increased.
Definitely.
Yeah, because
like
they
me too. That's what I think.
They see it as a deterrent. But I'm saying that if you make... It's not me, but His Excellency Mahama has made a campaign promise. So it doesn't behove on us. That is our view. Some people think that it should stay and even be increased to 50%.
But if you make a promise, if I promise you 3,000 cedis and I realize that, the following day, I actually can't give you 3K, is it not the honest thing to say, I promised 3K, but actually what I can do is 2K? In other words, if you look at COVID-19 levy, e-levy, betting tax, I agree this COVID-19
but then you have
thing
increased my expectation.
The betting, how about that? I mean...
You've increased my expectation. If you say 3,000 and you give me 2,000, maybe I've used your 3,000 for
But at least it shows some... I've been honest with you by saying that, listen, that, and I've met 2 out of 3.
You haven't helped me because I used your 3,000 for my budget.
But even, Kofi Kapito, even for those who bet, right, they still pay e-levy and COVID-19 levy.
Yes.
They still benefit, don't they?
You know...
If these taxes, if the 2 alone are scrapped, they still benefit because two are taken off.
But the argument that they make is what bothers me.
What is the argument?
And that's why I think the president or any politician should do more.
Right.
The young people are saying because they don't have jobs.
Right.
So the little money that they get and they bet, they are being taxed. But one thing they are forgetting is revenue. It's income. Ben, you get my point. Everybody should be taxed on income.
Another argument they make is that the chances of winning a bet are
I tell you that
they are infinitesimal.
I tell you the statistics. They claim that your chances of you being struck by lightning and you winning lotto, the lightning chances are better than
higher than the
are better for you.
Exactly. So it's practically negligible.
Negligible. Yes.
But
which also raises the question about then why are you betting in the first place?
That is the reason why.
Is it an addiction?
Tax, as we all know, worldwide,
right,
is a revenue for the state to collect and actually use it for development. Even the NLE, that is their motto. Partnership in development. You get my point? But you cannot say people shouldn't bet. I'm not for banning betting. All I'm saying is we should put certain things in place so that even when people get addicted, okay, how are we going to rehabilitate them?
You see, Kofi, the point is even that, are we saying that those who are working don't bet?
Who? No. I mean, it's not that.
No, the basis.
Yes.
I'm agreeing to the basis of the argument.
That because they don't have jobs.
Working.
Yes.
Now, there are some people who are working in banks and they still.
I know women, big women.
I don't know about that one. No. But I know that there are people who work and they still bet. So I mean, this is a very.
Ben, have you heard about something called Aviator?
What's that?
Yes, I have.
There's a betting thing called Aviator.
I've heard it, but I don't know.
I'm telling you. You see, the danger of betting. It's just like somebody being addicted to drugs. Yeah. At a certain point, they need a fix.
Okay, all right. So let's move on. I guess the conclusion here is that let me say it in Chi so that
COVID levy should go.
I mean, what
that one there's no argument about it. The kind of say, "Uchadia, you better."
Yeah, better. That one. I like that conversion.
Ucha, you better.
Yeah, better.
All right, let's get Nanaya. Let's do your papers quickly.
So I should everything or choose.
You can do headlines and then do one or two stories.
My interest got to this.
But give us the headlines.
Okay, first. The news center that takes a break says that President Akufo-Addo does not own UK property. Eugene. I don't know which Eugene is this. Mini budget set for January 2nd, but which side will compromise to end deadlock? I heard Honorable Atoforsen talking about the Vice President reading the budget on the 2nd. The Vice President-elect. Future generations will acknowledge our work, Akufo-Addo. Looming government shutdown, a crisis of leadership and cooperation. And this also caught my attention. Tissues of the issues. Quisiteria. President Mahama must not appoint Mr. Achan again. Everybody knows who
that appears to be a very direct
confrontation,
or someone has an axe to grind.
Yes. I mean,
I don't know.
I read through it and.
Who's Achan?
Achan is the person who was a traitor when Joshua went to war.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, like, don't.
So that tells you that my Sunday school.
So President-elect Mahama pays courtesy calls on West African leaders.
Okay, I think that is cool. So we can get into
the story.
When I say the headlines, basically
the front
ones. Okay. So President Akufo-Addo, I read it, and they say he has 15 properties in the UK, but the one they are talking about is for his brother, and the brother bought it £50,000.
In 50,000 pounds.
In 205.
50,000 pounds.
That's what is there. In
Where?
205 in UK.
Where in UK?
They talked about.
You want to know whether it's whether it's the suburbs or some.
Let me see. I have forgotten the area. You know that for UK they are named.
You can't even get a council flat for 50,000 pounds.
He said 205.
I know you can't get a council flat for 50,000.
Where is it? It's in Westminster.
Oh, I say you can't get a flat, a council flat.
I mean, the basic thing is that
75 Nottingham Terrace, London City, Westminster in 205. Westminster is a high-end area. It's like the government area. Oh no, I didn't see it properly. It said £350,000.
Okay, because 50,000 pounds. Yeah,
so 350,000. So the brother bought. I think it's even a flat or something. I don't know.
Okay. So what's your brief take on that?
I believe, you see, when it comes to these things, even people have a way of owning properties abroad. If it goes beyond one, then it becomes a problem. I know a few people who are, even young people, who have been able to get mortgages and they bought flats, houses. So if this one is for the brother, and it was bought in 205, then that one, and I think they even used to live there. Certainly some people who live there buy houses and they rent it out and they leave one bedroom and all that. So when it comes to these things, I seldom even talk about it because I even know people who are younger. 12,646 Ghanaian deport. That is, this one, it breaks my heart. I think we need to organize our country properly for people to stay here. Because when you go through this process, I mean, you see Ghanaians going through this process, it's frantic. Because they are deported and they don't even know what they are coming to do.
It's humiliating.
Very, very
And I've still been seeing issues about some of our students, for example.
Yeah.
You know, the UK and other places are cracking the whip. If you are not able to pay your fees, they are becoming more strict on some of these. And even African countries where we are not able to pay their stipends, and so some of them are doing all kinds of things.
So we need to manage our country properly for everybody to stay. This one, I put it on a Fenyo marking 100%.
The mini budget.
Yes, the crisis that we are in is the problem.
Do you think it's payback time for the MPP?
No, he's the reason why we are here.
Why is he?
All the shenanigans during those...
It's the finance minister who didn't show up.
No, but the point is that if they hadn't closed Parliament, Senate, and all that went on, they could have done it. Do you get me? It was very unnecessary. We all talked about it, that they could have resolved. Now he's saying that we are all brothers. Why didn't he say that at the time? That we are all brothers.
I've heard some people say, no, we are not brothers.
Yeah, but I'm saying that at the time, if he had the same posture, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Okay.
It's even possible Amin has not finished putting the thing together because he also went out to campaign.
Okay, so Dafiam has said that we are not brothers. Let's do your paper, maybe both of them, and then I'll come to Nanaya to do one last. No, let me go to Kofi Kapiko first, so that it's a bit even.
Well, the front page, presidency rubbishes Kevin Taylor's false claim. Joe Wise endorses Afenyo Makin to lead MPP minority. The coalition and MPP clinches 7 out of 9 disputed seats. AUCC granted presidential charter. Now AUCB, which is the publisher.
Okay. Let's once you're done with the headlines there, let's do the story you want to. No, we'll come to we do one paper at a time.
You know, it is interesting that in the paper, I'm trying to look for it.
That's the Ghanaian publisher.
That they are talking about, I don't know whether it's this one or the other one, talking about fire outbreaks. And the fire service is saying that I think within 1 month or so, they've gotten over 20-something fire outbreaks. Even this morning, they say they had like 5 or 6.
There's even the Kwashiman cluster of schools.
Yes.
Where
that one they said it's awesome.
My issue is, this time of the year, these things, if you are not careful, will happen because of the Harmattan.
Yeah.
It happens in various countries. Summertime, bush fires and stuff. My issue is, how equipped is the fire service?
No, let me give you a straightforward one. I've done blunt thoughts on the fire service and all of that. They are ill-equipped. There are regions where all the tenders they have are gone. Literally. I could look for, the slides there. It is crazy. It means that if there's a fire outbreak, you are literally on your own. There are regions where half of them. In fact, I could look for it and share it at some point. So the situation is dire. Once they don't have the logistics, and even where you have those fire, what do you call those?
Hydrants.
The hydrants. And they are not working. What do you expect them to do? So sometimes when people complain about, we call the fire service and all that, you have to know the details to understand where you are.
When I was young, I used to be active, so I did a whole lot of stuff, right? This hydrant thing. Do you know that there was a fight between Ghana Water and the fire service? That I had to intervene because Ghana Water was saying that the fire service were taking their water and taking it to private homes without paying. So they locked the hydrants. So the question is, look, this man has a video. I'm beginning to believe him. He says the UT Bank guy, retired Captain Abuabin.
Prince
Abuabin.
Right.
He says Ghanaians are generally not good people.
Oh, he said that in an interview with me.
No, okay, fine. And I'm beginning to believe it. Because we are not good people. Ben, no, let me explain. Like you said, you know about the fire.
We are pressed for time.
Hold on. You know about the fire. I know about the fire.
Right.
Why do government keeps buying Land Cruisers? Why do government keep paying first class and business class for people who couldn't even afford Amtrak, passing or AWA to Kumasi and back in their own private lives?
Okay, point made.
All I'm saying is,
we're
yes, all I'm saying, and this president's, look, I'll show you something. And sometimes people talk, with these modern days, anything you cannot hide. This is why I stay in America. I just Googled it. If it would tell you ownership and everything. Yeah. So why are we allowing Kevin Taylor? Look, I don't have anything against him. To me, if it's true, bring evidence.
All right. Evidence is the name of the game. Let's hold
no, but
it right
showed
there.
That is for the brother.
And basically the point is we are often penny wise, pound foolish. We can't get into the stories. If you have any one that you'd like to reflect on, let's do that one. I'll do my headlines and we're gone.
The custodian. It's almost the same with
the same
issue. Police rebut electoral violence. I don't think that we should try and reduce the violence, but you see, they should also be fair.
Okay,
all
right.
Jane hasn't done well.
All right.
Zoom Lion 2 does this 2025 achievements in grand style. But Ghana is dirty. So
Ghana is. Let me just say this. As you go out there, as you're driving, it's hazy. So let's also be careful. Because
and gas.
And just to keep yourself safe. Today newspaper, respect electoral laws, PPP to EC. NDC fights EC over recollated parliamentary results. Chifu Atimokwa poultry farmers cry. Well, this is where we would have to sew up the conversation. A very good morning to Lucelle. Lucelle is a little girl. I don't know whether she's 3, 4, thereabouts. And I hear she watches me every morning. And then she sees me and says, well, she's Lucelle, a smart girl. If you are watching, pardon me.
I say she's a smart girl.
She's a smart girl. If you're watching me this morning, Lucelle, good morning to you. And that's how we're capping off the news review. Those who joined us, Kofi Kapito, Chief Executive of the Consumer Protection Agency. We also had Nanaya Achepim Jantua, former General Secretary of the CPP, also of the PURC. Muftau Nabila Abdullahi is next with sports. You want to stay for that?
Time now to bring you sports, on the AM show with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And we understand the Black Queens head coach, Nora Hoptel, turned down a contract renewal with the Ghana Football Association and is likely to accept a job in the Zambia. Well, per Joy Sports sources, the Ghana Football Association offered her $6,000 monthly salary, but she rather demanded for $12,000 instead. We have details in this report. Joy Sports sources have revealed that the Swiss coach's departure comes after a failed negotiation with the Ghana Football Association to renew her contract. Sources revealed that the GFA offered Hoptel a $6,000 monthly salary and a $5,000 bonus in preparations for the Women's African Cup of Nations tournament in Morocco. However, she declined, reportedly seeking $12,000 instead. While the GFA leadership was expected to lead further negotiations, it appears these discussions never materialized. Those sources close to Hoptel could not confirm authoritatively that she has left her role. They said they are not surprised by the news of her departure. Hoptel's frustration with the GFA's inability to support her team's preparations also contributed to her exit. One notable instance was the GFA's failure to secure $40,000 for 2 friendly matches against Tunisia and Senegal last month, a setback that reportedly left her disheartened. Under Nora's leadership, the Black Queens displayed a significant improvement, including a strong performance in the Women's Olympic qualifiers, where she missed out narrowly to her soon-to-be new employer, Zambia. She believed Ghana was in a better place and the team's failure left her broken, but she was determined to make amends in Morocco. However, the lack of resources and unmet demands ultimately strained her relationship with the Ghana Football Association. Sources close to Nora Hoptel also revealed to Joy Sports that her decision to walk away from the job had nothing to do with unmet financial demands, because managing the Black Queens had nothing to do with money. Joy Sports understands that Hoptel will reportedly sign a 2-year contract with Zambia earning a monthly salary of $7,000. This is just $1,000 more than what was tabled by the Ghana Football Association. To stay at women's football, and the Black Maidens, they defeated Nigeria 5-4 on penalties to win the maiden edition of the Waffle B Under-17 girls competition at the Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence.
Fall against Christiana. Easy does it! Victoria Bamford! The heartbeat of every Ghanaian to sit on tenterhooks and wait for that glory. There we have it! There we have it! There we have it! There we have it, the Black Maidens of Ghana! They are going to lift the trophy and it will be presented to the captain of the side, Latifa Abesek.
Let's give them a round of applause as they pick the
there you
trophy.
have it.
Congratulations
the road
to the Black Maidens of Ghana.
Road to resuscitation begins now with the Black Maidens.
Hip, hip, hip.
Take the time.
Hip, hip, hip.
She lifts the trophy. There you have it. These are the champions. The Waffle Zone BU17 Girls Cup Ghana 2024.
A wonderful job done.
As the Black Maidens were winning, the Black Galaxies, they were drawing against Nigeria in the first leg of the CHAN qualifiers that took place at the Accra Sports Stadium on Sunday. Head coach of the team is Didi Dramani. He's been speaking ahead of the second leg.
It was better to have a scoreless draw rather than to have a scoreline draw. What I mean is that technically the game is bearing now. So we are going into a new game. And it doesn't matter where the game is being played. You know, I believe that in Africa now officiating cannot be too bad in the sense that this was our home game, but there was nothing that we were playing and hoping for any favor in terms of officiating. We just have to play. And I believe that where we're going to play the game also the pitch is one of the best, is the only approved pitch in Nigeria and so it's the best. I believe that the most important aspect of our team is we played with the best energy. The boys came with the right effort and they performed. You know, results, you know, come, you know, when sometimes you don't control it. But I believe that they will control the game again. We will control the game, and they will open up, and then the game will be open. But even that one, you cannot just go and play a game and just open out.
The Ghana Premier League also took place over the weekend. Let's bring you the results of matches. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they came to Accra and secured a 2-1 win over Dreams FC. Just as you can see on your screen, Nations FC won 3-0 against Legon Cities. And Bechem United, they were 1-0 winners over defending champions Samatex. Heart of Lions, sitting at the summit of the Premier League table, won their game by 3-1. And Bibiane Gold Stars won 2-1 against Inshuatruman. And Young Apostles, they were held to a 1-1 stalemate by Vision FC. So these are the results of matches that were played in the Ghana Premier League. These were the fixtures for Saturday. On Friday, Accra House of Oak, they secured a 3-0 win over Brekum Chelsea on March the 13th of the Ghana Premier League.
Grateful to have you, Doc. We'll come into the post-election matters, especially when it comes to the economy. But let's start from financial literacy. Over some time, we've seen, people preaching the gospel, if I should say, of financial literacy. But I want to pick your thought on the role policy and regulation has to play when it comes to financial literacy in our space.
You know, the first and foremost responsibility for investor education or public financial education falls on the regulators. The regulators here, I'm talking about Bank of Ghana, I'm talking about National Pension Regulatory Authority, Securities and Exchange Commission, and NIC. These are the four principal regulators that we have in the country, and to a large extent, Ministry of Finance. So in their mandate, there are provisions in their mandate that they have to educate the public when it comes to issues relating to finance. And to be specific, what relates to each regulator in terms of the regulator's industry domain. So Bank of Ghana regulates the banking and specialized deposit institutions. So anything that is of interest for consumers of financial services within the banking space is a responsibility of Bank of Ghana. When you go to pensions, it's National Pension Regulatory Authority. Securities, market, mutual fund, investment falls under the domain of Securities and Exchange Commission Ghana. And when it comes to insurance, we are talking about National Insurance Commission. Having said that, from the policy point of view, the financial institutions themselves also have a responsibility because they stand to gain the most if we are able to get a large segment of our population being financially literate.
Non-performing loans has been one of the biggest problems when it comes to our financial sector. We've had banks suffering as a result of that, also savings and loans companies. I remember recently in one of their annual general meetings, they made mention of the fact that teachers, nurses, and basically public workers do abscond to other parts of the world with these monies being borrowed from some of these savings and loans companies. How do we sort of get our head around this? What's the way forward?
So long as you provide credit in any form, as a bank or even if you are selling normal tangible goods and services and it's on credit, you will have the problem with non-performance in terms of loans or credit. So once the economy is moving more from cash-based transactions to a credit-supported economy, we'll be confronted with non-performing loans. But the issue then is the high level of non-performing loans. That clearly shows that we are having challenges and difficulties in loan management from the banks. And that will start from when the loan request is made by the client. The process that the client will go through, the before loan process, right? Then the after loan process. What do we do? And how best do we manage the entire process so that it will be successful in the sense that the loan will perform, meaning that the borrower will end up paying for the facility. So we need to look at the entire chain, not just after the loan, but even before the loan is given. What are we doing within that space? And what measures do we have, not only the bank, but what measures do we have as a country to deal with before loan and after loan extension process so that we can deal with the non-performing loans? One thing that we can rely on is the national identity. You see, the national identity is one particular unique identifier that if we are successful as taking a strong hold on it, it will help us to know who is who. And if you're able to link all our other economic activities around the national ID, then we have solved a big problem when it comes to the area of non-performing loans. In that case, you cannot take loan from one institution and then disguise yourself and go and take another loan from another institution. There will always be a trail on you because your unique identity is who you are. This leads us into the discussion of the credit scoring. Once we start building up this culture of credit scoring, right from the universities or let's say the tertiary institutions, young adult level, and then you have your credit score, you have a score, it will be your responsibility to maintain a good score. Because the higher your score, the lower the rate at which you are going to borrow. So everybody will have a unique identity that mimics his or her behavior. Every business will also have a unique identity, which is a credit score that is going to mimic his or her behavior as a borrower. So in that case, if you go for a facility and then you mismanage the facility, it will affect your score. It will affect your next loan rate. If you're an individual and you go for a facility and then you mismanage the facility, it will also affect your score. So your credit, the credit scoring system now will help us to model many of us in the formal sector and even the informal sector to be financially disciplined. What we have to do is to speed up the process of finalizing the credit score, maybe linking it up to the Ghana national identity, Ghana card identity, so that it becomes a unique identifier, and then I can be known and my history can be tracked. Even if I have to buy electricity, right, I need to use my ID, and how I buy my electricity should also give me a score on the credit scoring system. Water bill, how promptly I pay my water should also be calibrated into my credit score. Other things that I buy, if I'm buying furniture on credit, should also be calibrated onto the credit score. If we're able to do this, the entire system will be built on credit. And that credit system will be so robust that if an individual goes to a facility and is not able to pay, he can easily be tracked. And then we can deal with such bad borrowers, because the existence of the bad borrowers is what is hurting the good borrower. Because the banks sometimes find it difficult to differentiate between a good and a bad borrower, the banks end up charging a standard rate. And the standard rate becomes so expensive for the good borrowers, but less expensive for the bad borrowers. And that is what is resulting in these high NPLs that we are seeing. So we need to manage the entire loan process. What I mean is, before the loan is given, when the loan is given, and then after the loan. And the objective is that the borrower must come again for another loan.
But should that be the role of the regulator or the banks or financial, institutions themselves?
It's a responsibility for all. It's a responsibility for the regulator, the banks, the individuals, or let's say financial service consumers. We all have a responsibility. You understand? So we can't leave it on the doorstep of the regulator. We can't leave it on the doorstep of the financial institutions. All of us have a responsibility. From the central government point of view, we can use the Ghana card as a starting point. And let's quickly build the credit score around the Ghana card. And let's have that unique identifier when it comes to lending. Let's pull the data together so that before I even go for a credit facility, I'll be directed to go for a credit score. And I'm going to use that credit score as one of my, my documents to request for the loan. The banks understand what the score means, and I also understand what it means for me. So that when I service or I don't service the loan, it will then affect my next score that I'll have. And that will bring in some level of discipline. If we can start, we can even go back to the mobile money account and use our behavior on the mobile money account when we go for these mobile money loans as a starting point to start building the score. Especially for those who have not borrowed formally, we can use the mobile money conduit as a starting point to build their credit score. At the universities, those who have not come for loan before, we can also target them. If they have gone for student loan, it's also another area that we can use to manage or to start building the credit score. The point is that you must build the credit score over time. You can't just start on the ground zero. So we should start building the credit score over time. And as we build it and we educate the public, we'll be able to deal with these non-performing loans. It's not only about individuals. Institutions or businesses will also have to get their own credit score, which will also mimic their borrowing behavior. In the end, the credit score will help us deal with financial indiscipline within the space.
Welcome back on the AM show, and we're going to be talking about some of those 7 constituencies that have all swung the way of the New Patriotic Party on the back of the EC's recollation exercise. And of course, there are 9 of them, 2 still outstanding, including Domi Kwabenya. But we'll be looking at the TMA Central constituency, which has now turned blue, though initially the result pointed to its turning green. We'll get into the nitty-gritty, but we are joined by Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He is Deputy Head of IT and Elections with the National Democratic Congress. You can see him in your shots there in NDC colors, of course. What can you expect? Well, Dr. Computer, a very good morning to you.
My brother, Benjamin, how are you?
Hello, Doc. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Ben, can you hear me? Good morning.
I can hear you. A very good morning to you. I hope you're well.
I'm terrific. I'm terrific. Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and to the good people of Bimbilla and Woolensey constituencies.
All right. Thank you for joining the conversation. Let me also acknowledge Charles Forson, who is in the studio. He has been declared the Member of Parliament elect for TMA Central. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Great. I'll come to you in a bit, but Dr. Tanko, reflecting on what has happened so far, what are your quick reactions in terms of the 7 constituencies that have now gone the way of the New Patriotic Party?
Well, let me put it on record that, like I stated on Saturday, I was there. I went there to address the media, and I told the whole world, point blank, that whatever was going on there was completely illegal. It was a charade, a calculated attempt to rig the elections for the MPP, and we're not going to accept anything coming out of that place. Why am I saying this? Like I said it, we filed a process at the High Court. Yes, the MPP also came with a writ of mandamus. And then, interestingly enough, instead of the judge to consolidate the two, because any ruling that he was going to make on the writ of the mandamus was going to have a direct effect on our issues, because ours was about stopping the Electoral Commission from doing any recollation, because we believe strongly that the law doesn't permit that. And based on what Madam Jean Mensah wrote to us in 2020 about the Techima South issue, so we're very clear in our mind. And so we're surprised when the judge refused to consolidate the two, made a ruling for the mandamus, which was directed at the Electoral Commission, of which we're not party. And so we couldn't make representation there, and made a sweeping ruling for them that they should go ahead with the process of collation and all that. So our lawyers had to argue that, no, our case too is pending. You need to hear us. And you know, definitely the judge will have to go by his first ruling. And that's why he came out and said he was allowing the Electoral Commission to go ahead with the collation and recollation of the 9 areas. Then we rushed to the Supreme Court to file a process and to arrest what happened at the High Court, stay of execution. And then this one was served at the police. IGP was joined into it, then the Electoral Commission as well. And it's a trial knowledge in law that anytime a process is filed at the Supreme Court for stay execution, because you are running to them for them to protect you with the kind of ruling that went at the High Court. Otherwise, if they don't give you that protection for the 7 days, in order to give you that briefing space for them to look at your case, it's a trial knowledge. Then this Electoral Commission, because they have been very lawless in everything they are doing, they went ahead to organize this recollation exercise on Saturday. That's why we said we're not going to be part of it. Unfortunately, some of our people did not know this. They were not aware that we had filed another process at Supreme Court. So they went there. That's why I had to come and stop them and ask them to leave the place. We should not participate in that illegality. By any case, even what they granted, what they even did, look at the TMA Central one. The gentleman they brought that very morning, to do the collation for them, as describing himself as a deputy returning officer. Everybody will know him. Everybody know that gentleman, Francis Chum, a guy in Wool MPP. Everybody knows him. Just go and Google his Facebook wall.
Dr. Tanko, those who work with the Electoral Commission, you will definitely have some people who have affiliations to or affinity for the NDC, the MPP, and other parties. Does that bar them from working with the Electoral Commission?
Yes, the law bars them. They bar them completely. That is why.
Are you saying they can't support? You know, the Electoral Commissioners, you know, the staff and all of that, they vote too, right? Or are you talking of open participation in politics?
Open participation in politics. This gentleman is openly known to be a member of the MPP, and I'm saying that evidence abounds. What kind of diligence did they even do to pick him into their district? And they brought that gentleman that morning. You saw that the returning officer of TMA Central raised some issues and says he wanted the two parties to come on board to address the issues before you could proceed. Then these commissioners, because they had a wicked agenda against NDC, brought this gentleman to do the declaration for them. That's the kind of illegality they perpetrated for TMA Central, the good people of TMA Central. And we are not going to allow it to lie low. We will make sure that we use everything legally within our mandate and within the jurisdiction of Ghana to stop this illegality.
Okay, final bit before I come into the studio. This bit about a deputy returning officer, how do you feel about that, legally speaking?
It's not known to the law. The CI 127 doesn't recognize anybody as deputy returning officer. The CI 127, Check Regulation 2, is talking about returning officer. And then they are talking of the commission may appoint assistant to assist it. They didn't say the deputy returning officer. There's a difference between an assistant and a deputy returning officer. The law doesn't talk of a deputy returning officer. So where they have gotten it from, that's why I'm saying the Electoral Commission, in fact, is fast becoming the most lawless institution in Ghana. They just sit down there and do things that suit them.
So just to cap it off, what you're saying is that with this recollation exercise and the 7 new members of parliament, well, some of them are being retained, and Sawame, Duajiri, and other places, you are saying this is illegal. Just confirm for me. Is that what you're saying?
Benjamin, is completely illegal.
All right, thank you.
And we will not recognize it. We will not, as a party, will not recognize it, and we will prevent
you very much
from happening.
Let me come to Charles Forson in the studio here with me. And so initially, the thinking was that Ebi Bright had taken TMA Central constituency. And now we're hearing that you, Charles Forson, actually are the winner. But walk us through this process. Initially, with all the rancor that has characterized the process, how did you feel on election day and all this while? What has it been like?
Okay, let me extend a warm greetings from Joy FM to your cherished listeners and viewers, and TMA Central in particular. Now, prior to we going into the constituency coalition center at about 10 p.m., December 7th, we knew we had won.
You knew you had won?
Yes.
How did you know?
No, we've done the coalition. We had all our 148 pink sheets. We had it manually and we had it digitally.
Okay.
And so, you know.
And this was incontrovertible evidence?
Yes. The numbers do not lie. Election results are a number game. And you cannot concoct numbers.
Okay.
So when we were going in there, we knew we had won. We had our pin sheet, we had our computers with all the numbers, and we had the numbers printed them. So I mean, this issue of somebody winning, somebody hasn't won, doesn't come in.
How do you think it came to be then that Ebi Bright was declared the winner? When the recollation was done, which the NDC claims is illegal, and which in the past was not done per CI 127. There was a different vote, but now it says you polled 15,800 and Ebi Bright's a little over 15,400. What do you think went wrong the first?
There hasn't been any recollation. We were doing, we began from Saturday around 11, the presidential. About 4 a.m. in the morning of Sunday, we were done with the presidential. But the NDC said they had a different number, so we had to recollate the presidential. At about 9:30 thereabout, we were done. We were about starting the parliamentary when tax trooped in. So the process was truncated. We were called in again. That was when the tear gas and what have you. I'm sure you heard. They called us again in the afternoon. And from the NDC's end, they said insecurity. So it had to be moved to the regional command on Wednesday, which we argued, and it was brought to Tuesday. But in the morning, the Metro director called that we should come the Monday to the regional command at 8, which we went. We were doing the coalition, we got to 146. Then the agitation was so strong.
Agitation from what?
From the thugs, from the NDC side.
Thugs?
Yes, thugs, yes.
Why do you describe them as thugs?
Yeah. No, haven't you seen the videos?
No, I'm asking, why do you describe them as thugs?
No, they came in.
What were they doing?
They destroyed everything that came on their way. Everything, canopies, name them. They smashed all windows at the police. Evidence are there. So I think the Metro director, the EC Metro director, referred to his superiors. They advised that the process should be halted and to be continued the next day. Then the NDC came out that no, they will use the 146 to declare. So they took an A4 sheet.
When was this?
That was on Monday at the regional command, the police regional command. They took an A4 sheet. This is a picture of it. Wrote MPP, NDC, independent, wrote numbers on it. Then because the place was so tense and everybody was running for they got a TMA West returning officer or an officer to come and declare them. So in all this, I'm wondering.
They got whom? The TMA West?
A TMA West, an officer from the EC.
Because I heard of an incident where a returning officer from one constituency came and...
TMA West. I don't know whether he is, but I know he's an officer from TMA West. Now, in all this...
And when you say they got, are you referring to the EC or the NDC?
No, I don't know who got it, but because we were there when they said that they had to... Because if they don't announce it, they are not going to allow anybody to leave the premises.
Right.
They've overpowered everybody, including the police.
Were you there at this
Yes, I was there. I was locked in a room. No, I was there in a room. No. You couldn't step out.
Okay.
Yes.
And you were there. Were your agents there?
No.
Were you there alone?
As in the room where I was.
Yes.
Yes, I was there with my people.
And these thugs, purportedly, were they still around?
They were in the yard, but I was locked in a different room.
Okay.
Yes.
And because you're suggesting that this, what name would I? So
purported declaration.
Not even that. The person doing the declaration was under some sort of duress.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Duress. The crowd was outside, but you say there was duress.
Yes.
To what extent was there duress?
No, according to the report from the EC directors.
So I'm asking you, I know what the EC has said. I'm asking you because you were there.
Yes, because I was there when they came and then the process was truncated. That we were told that the process will continue the next day.
Right.
And that the 146 that has been collated should hold, and then we'll continue from there for the other two to continue. Yes.
I see. And because at some point, the thinking was that the EC had nullified the results. That was why I was talking to you about recollation. So eventually, the counting process continued, right? The counting process continued.
Only yesterday.
Eventually. Yes, that's what I mean.
Yes, please.
Eventually, that happened. And you believe that supersedes the earlier declaration that gave E.B. Bright the nod as MP because the constituencies, the polling stations had not been completed,
yes, please.
Right?
Yes, please.
Okay. The point has been made that you can weigh the number of polling stations that are left. And if you see that there's a bit of a gap between two candidates, and even when you add all of those others, it will not add up to that number. You can go ahead and declare. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree.
All right. And that is exactly what was even done in the presidential election, looking at the difference and even if everything was added on. But in this instance, the difference then would be what? That the remaining polling stations
when the two
would have
added
significant numbers added on for both sides, and you couldn't tell, right?
Yes.
You couldn't tell how.
No, we've done our numbers. They knew the numbers that once the two polling stations are added, they are going to lose. That was why they brought in all the fighting, all the distractions.
The numbers that we have, are those the numbers you had?
18,000, yes. 18,870, yes. And they had 18,815. Yes.
I see. You have what? 18,870.
18,870, yes, please.
And then 18 what?
815.
815.
From the 148.
Okay, that is with the two others?
Yes, please, added.
I see. And you're suggesting that they knew this. That was why they were
they knew.
Trying to create some
yes, please.
Chaos at the
please.
scene.
Yes, please.
The NDC, and I will allow Dr. Rashid Tanko to come in a bit, but they are saying recollation per CI 127, per what we have in the law, is illegal. And that all you have to do is to go to the High Court to address the issue. Now, if you look at previous elections, and of course, Techiman South has to be mentioned, though I've heard different people talk about why maybe the circumstances could have been different in Techiman South. The Electoral Commission, on principle, decided that no, it wasn't going to go down that road, and that if any party felt aggrieved, they should go to the right quarters, aka the High Court. Do you dispute that?
You see, I don't know that of Techiman, but I can let me contextualize it in the case of TMA Central. You see, we were in the process of completion. We've got into 146 out of 148. You see, if you allow it to stand, meaning that the next election, nobody is going to campaign. People will go for arms. And then once they call it just two, and I'll put gun at somebody's, is that what we want as a nation? No. Let us go to, in the case of TMA Central, there hasn't been any recollation. We were, the process was
just the continuation of the process.
And then they called somebody, wrote it on a piece of paper. This is what they wrote. Ask them whether they signed the declaration sheet. There's a declaration sheet.
Did your agent sign
this? No,
your agents sign?
No, yesterday's.
Yeah, not yesterday.
No,
this one. Did your agents?
No, yesterday was a handwritten on an A4 sheet.
Talking of when it was 146 and the declaration was made, did your agents?
No, they did it alone. We weren't there.
You're not answering my question.
No, my agents were not there to even sign.
They were not there to sign.
Yes, please. Nobody's signed.
Okay. But you know that the fact that they are not present also doesn't mean the process.
Of course, that I know. Yes. Okay. I do know that.
So go ahead.
Yes. So I'm saying that if you allow such impunity to stand, meaning that the next election, the next Assembly's election, that is 2027, people with machete, people with machine guns would then mass up at coalition center and declare in 2028. That is why in the wisdom of everybody, we should allow this thing to be cured now and now. Because if we allow it, it's not going to augur well, it is not going to develop the democracy that we've fought so well for since 1992.
Do this very quickly for me. Recollation. Now, precedents are being set. The NDC side is saying legally they will take on the matter, and we'll see how that goes from there. If injunctions are brought on the process in the High Court and all of that, only God knows whether you will be able to serve your term, which could create other legal impediments. But quickly, so you are for recollation in the sense that it is happening now, because we are setting precedents for the future, and maybe you or others could be affected in a different way in the future. Looking at what the CI says versus what is happening, are you okay with it? You think it's the right thing to do?
I mean, in my case, in
your case, in my continuation, right?
Yes.
And I'm asking you about the general bit about recollation and the 7 constituencies.
The 7 constituencies. Look at the pattern. Or there were attempts to seize the process midway.
Yes, but the law specifically states that whatever the case may be, you go to the High Court.
I mean, with just A4 sheet scrambling numbers on it. No, I don't think we should have to allow such a thing to happen.
It's not what you think. It's what the law says.
I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer. But they were in court. We were also in court. And we all heard what the lawyer said, the judge said. And we all heard what the lawyers argued on. I'm saying that let us cure it from the root.
Okay.
Else, 2027, during the assembly election, we are going to have a chaotic situation. 2028, same thing will happen, because the person with arms will end up winning.
And so the cure is what?
It's that we allow the processes to end. If there are 148 polling stations, pink sheet, we need to tally all and get the winner. We don't have to use guns and then tear gas.
Okay. So the duress you speak of was what exactly in respect of the returning officer? What was I want you to pinpoint the duress for me.
No, they were shouting. They said that if they have to declare the NDC candidate as a victor, else nobody will leave. They have video evidence.
Shouting was the duress?
Shouting. No, they were locking, smashing just everything that comes on their way. It is not shouting. I believe you've not seen the videos.
No, I just want you to clarify. I am interrogating matters here.
Yes.
I want you, from what you saw, what you think, because we've heard different things from even your party, different accounts. So I wanted you were on the ground.
Yes.
What accounted for duress for you?
The duress is that if they do not announce the NDC's candidate as the winner, nobody was leaving the premises.
Okay.
They began breaking everything that came their way. Yes. Okay. Everything. Just name them.
Dr. Rashid Tanko, let me come to you. How do you respond to the assertions that have been made? 146 out of 148. My first question, why did you not allow the process of collation to get complete before the declarations were made? And why this person coming through from Tema West to come and make the declaration? I've heard your side talk about that situation. Address these two concerns for me first before we proceed. Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer. Hello, Doc.
My good brother there. Maybe he's not telling you the truth, the real picture.
So tell me.
The reason why it could not complete, they know. Two of the pinches had difficulties. He knows it very well. The one
what were the difficulties?
The difficulty is that you could not authenticate whether it was coming from the the presiding officer of those polling stations, because you know that when a pink sheet is to be concluded, it has to be signed by the presiding officer, date it, put the time that he is signing it, and then, yes, the date, the time. This pink sheet didn't have that kind of description. It didn't have that kind of feature completely. So it was in a difficult situation. Nobody was ready to accept that. We're having issues with that pink sheet, because it could be manufactured somewhere. Somebody brought it somewhere. Because in every presiding officer duty was to write his or her name on it, put a date on it, sign, signature, and then put the time that he has announced the results before the party agents will now sign it. This pink sheet didn't have that features. And you expect us to accept it. That was a problem we had with them.
So in other words, the pink sheets had problems with authenticity. That's what you're saying.
Authenticity. It has problem with authenticity. And we needed to clear. That's why the presiding
you could not clarify that with the Electoral Commission?
That is what we're trying to do. And the problem emanated from them. And the returning officer knew it and said, I wanted the two parties to come and sit down. Let's discuss it. Look at it. Then these people, because they had planned to rig the places, they moved out the man and brought in a new person, Francis Chum, to declare him. He knows what I'm talking about.
but
that's the issue we were raising. So he was illegally announced as the winner of the place. He was illegally announced. And that's why we said we would recognize it. He knows the issues. And I'm saying that he's holding a paper and saying that the results was written on a paper. Then he's condemning what happened on Saturday. Do you know that I have a NOSAF West results was written on TANOSAF summary sheet. A different summary sheet from different region was brought there and cancelled. They just cancelled on top of it and wrote I have a NOSAF and used it to declare somebody. Now he should compare that one to what he's talking about. These things happened on Saturday. All these things he's talking about, it happened on Saturday. They were just changing papers and writing, cancelling names and writing other names on it and using it to declare. That's why I describe it as a charade, a concert party activity.
Let me ask you, these pink sheets that eventually were used, the last two polling stations or polling centers, do you still have issues with them?
We have. We still have issues with them.
What are the issues?
I'll just give you the issues. Any pink sheets that come out from a polling station must have these features. Are you with me? It must have these features.
So yes, you mentioned the presiding officer dating and all of that. The
presiding officer, yeah, that's why the signatures are important. His signature, what is it? There was no signature of presiding.
Do you have, when you did your collation, right? Because the MPP did its own collation, you did your collation, which is why you were even able to come out with your presser when Sami Jemfi addressed the nation, mentioning that you had won X number of seats and that you were winning the presidential. With your details, what votes did you get for A.B. Bright?
Oh, A.B. Bright won the election fairly.
What votes did she get?
Well, I don't have my file here. I would have given you the figure, but she won fairly. I can give you the figure.
But you know, to be fair to the conversation, you've seen what the EC has declared on the back of 148 polling stations or polling centers. 18,870 for Charles Forson, 18,815 for A.B. Bright. If you're countering it, you might as well come with figures.
Yeah, I'm countering it based on
be able to tell me what your collation
the two pinches. The two pinches. Ben, I'm saying that we had done collation for 146, as you rightly said. No comments about that. We had issue with two pink sheets. And those two pink sheets were challenged. And we are saying that if they were to add those two challenged pink sheets, they were going to declare Charles Forson winner because they were not correct pink sheets. So we're challenging those two pink sheets and said that no, we must look at it critically because it lacks the proper features of a pink sheet. And so if you take out those two pink sheets, Charles Forson knows that he was not going to win. And that is why the returning officer says that he also has challenged with it because he wanted to be sure that these two parties, let's come and sit down, discuss it dispassionately. And the results that came out from those two polling stations. But these people refuse. So what I'm saying is that if you take out those two pink sheets from the totals, Charles will know that he's not going to win the election. He knows it.
Now, these two pink sheets have been used anyway. You have initiated court processes, and some of them have been thrown out, including Irabna Obin's situation. As far as these pink sheets are concerned, for you, they make this election of Charles Forson an illegality. Is that your position?
Completely illegal, because our fact is that having gone to Supreme Court to file for this stay of execution and serve same for the IGP and then the Electoral Commission, and you know it, we're seeking reliefs that we have run to them to protect us. If we allow these people to go ahead with it, we will lose that kind of protection that we're demanding from the court. And they know it's a trial knowledge. 7 days period, no action is going to be taken. Why would the Electoral Commission, they went ahead to do this kind of illegality, declare people one after the other. A concerted effort they would just put in place to continuously declare all of them. In fact, they would have declared all the 9 for MPP. It was a planting. It was just a planting until the Abdulkumanov, the returning officer, stood his ground and said he was not going to continue because he was not ready to use those kind of scanned copies being brought by the MPP, forcing him to accept them and use it to declare him. He stood his ground. And in fact, we have to give him a star of the voter. Because in the face of this, force of intimidation, he said no. And we were there, our team was there. When I got there, I saw what was going on. And they were forcing him, he can use those scanned copies of the MPP guys to declare the result. And he said no, he cannot continue the process. That is what they were doing. That's the kind of illegal, the level of the highest form of lawlessness that is.
Speaking of illegality, the claim has been made that in TMA Central, there were NDC thugs who besieged the point of declaration where the collation was being done, where the returning officer would declare the final numbers, and sowed the seed of chaos there, for which reason it had to be paused and also the pink sheet saga you made mention of came into the fray. How do you respond to that?
Ben, we cannot take the words of Charles Forson as the true facts of what happened.
I'm not saying they are the true facts. I'm asking you what happened.
I am saying that we didn't. Our members didn't go to vandalize anything. They didn't go to attack anybody.
He says they did.
What he's saying, you see, that has been their words. And we are saying that PNDC law 284, section 20, talks about issue of intimidation and vandalization or bribery of electoral officers to get a declaration. And the right place to go for such matter is the High Court. Under Article 99(1) of our Constitution, 1992 Constitution. It's very clear there. So it does not lie in the mouth of somebody to sit and say that because this thing happened, we should go and do recollation and other thing. The right place to do is, that's why we went to the High Court and told them that, look, recollation is not known to our laws as of now. It's not known. And even as of 2020, Madam, and I was happy you were telling him, Madam Jim Mensah, the same similar fashion, wrote to us that they cannot do recollation so long as they have declared a resource. That one is finished, unless you go to a higher authority, which is the High Court, for them to think of either to set it aside or accept it as it is. We have it. And in the same fashion, that what happened in TMA South, TMA Central, happened in Techima South, similar one, no different. The only difference is that Techima South, people were killed. But TMA South, nobody was killed.
I've heard lawyer Frank Davis suggest that, I mean, in Techima South, it was post the fact, post the declaration, that these incidents happened, and unfortunately we lost some lives, and that different from other instances where, according to him, an axe was being held to someone's head. But I'll ask you this again before I come back into the studio and wrap. Do you have figures, not just for TMA Central, but do you have figures for some of these areas, for example, where the collations are being done, where you can state that if all the polling stations were added up, your candidates would win? You have these, right, per your collation? You do, right?
Yes, we have, Ben, we have. In fact, the system we're using, we use the same system for the presidential and parliamentary. So we knew our results as we're going through. By 11:30 midnight, we knew the direction of which the election was going. So we have clearly, we have across. That is why. But
you were not just using the presidential results and juxtaposing them for the parliamentary, right? Because people.
No, not at all. These are two elections.
Okay.
But I'm saying that the system that we use in collating the presidential was the similar one we used for the parliamentary. Okay. And so we knew what was going on. But they were different elections altogether. Because you cannot compare that one at the same. They are not, these are different elections. And people could vote the way they vote presidential and go and vote different.
So finally, let me just get this out of the way because we are wrapping on the conversation. So what then happens to TMA Central and some of the others that have been declared for the New Patriotic Party? You say there's a pattern and that all 9 will be declared for the New Patriotic Party. What then is the NDC doing about it? I've seen literal threats on social media that come January 7th, when the new administration takes over, certain things are going to happen. What legal actions is the NDC going to take?
Very well, Ben. You saw the statement by our General Secretary, Honorable Fifi Koti. We're very clear about in our mind what we intend to win. We have a case filed before the law lords at the Supreme Court. We'll pursue that one. We are going to pursue it because we believe strongly that what happened at the High Court was a travesty of justice. And therefore, we're not going to allow it. So we'll pursue the legal direction of it. And because we filed this one and believe same that it arrested the situation at the High Court, the first declaration so made by the returning officer stands. There are the people who were validly elected per the ruling of the returning officers.
All right.
That is what the CI 127 has indicated. Until otherwise determined by the Supreme Court, we will still hold on to the first declaration made by the presiding officer.
Thank you.
And not what happened on Saturday.
Thank you for that, because indeed that process has been forwarded from the High Court. Irabana Obin, for example, has said that this was not right in law, and the apex court of the land will deal with it. But I'm going to conclude with you. I've given both of you ample time to, so these are wrap-up comments. Any reactions?
Yes, please. There are two pink sheets in question. Mm-hmm. One, he wasn't there. The doctor, he's a doctor, I believe.
Dr. Rashid Tanko.
Yes, doctor wasn't there. Now, they claim the presiding officer did not sign, but they had two agents. Agents signing.
You mean the exercise conducted just this Saturday?
No.
Which one?
The pink sheet.
The pink sheet?
Yes, he spoke on two pink sheets. Mm-hmm. The two remaining yes. Yeah. The first one, they said the presiding officer did not sign. But yet, they had two agents the two agents had signed both. Our agent had signed. And you remember?
Their agent and your agent
yes.
had signed?
We had one agent, they had two. Okay. Both of their agents had signed. And when we were at the command center, the EC had to call the presiding officer to come in person. They interviewed him. They asked him...
Which of the returning officers? Was it the one who was voting from Tema West?
No. I'm talking about the presiding officer.
Oh, okay.
Who forgot to append his signature in the name and the time. They called him in there. So the pink sheets...
How could he have forgotten to append the signature and the date and other crucial details were not on it? How does that...
But if you do remember...
make a pink sheet valid?
If you do remember, we went to... in 2012... the presidential election that we took to. The Supreme Court said that because the inability of a presiding officer to sign does not invalidate somebody's people's vote. We are talking about over 300 or 400 votes. And NDC is saying that they are going to quash it because the presiding officer did not sign. But yet, their agents co-signed the pink sheet.
So you think because their agents have appended their signatures to it, that is...
I'm not saying, but that is the truth. I'm
saying once their agents have appended their signatures, you feel whether there are problems or not with the pink sheets?
There are no problems because in the presidential one, let me come to it. In the presidential one, there were some that presiding officer did not sign. They admitted them. How come this? Because once we add the two, they are going to lose. The second pink sheet.
So you are suggesting they knew that? That was why they...
The second pink sheet, they claim they don't have it. Do you understand? There are two pink sheets. One, there wasn't, the signature of the presiding officer wasn't in there. The other one, because they had lost, they said they don't have it. But we had it, the EC had it. In any case, we have both the MPP and the NDC had the photocopy of the duplicate of what the EC. So the issue of, pink sheet not being signed is just an afterthought. They knew from Saturday, December 7th, from 11 p.m. that they had lost the Tama seat, and we've retained it.
How does all of this make you feel, though, especially with the process at the Apex Court and everything following from there? It means that maybe your position may not necessarily be that safe, that stable, because they are saying that based on the evidence of things, on the face of things, the initial declaration made by the returning officer is what stands on the back of 146 with the problematic pink sheets as far as the last two are concerned. And that
I wanted to ask
this situation then means that the declaration made just a few days ago on Saturday is invalid.
But the declaration made in Tema was made by who? Was made by who? He himself said that it's supposed to be a returning officer.
Right.
Was it made by a returning officer?
Was it a deputy?
No,
or was it from a different...
A different constituency. An officer from...
And they have raised issues with that as well.
With what?
With that situation where someone from a different constituency had to come and do the job. After the initial one had been done by the returning officer on the back of the 146.
Yes. No, I'm saying that...
They have raised issues with that. That's the point I'm making.
With the 148. No, I'm not getting the question you are.
I'm saying the initial declaration that was made, which had E.B. Bright declared as winner, was done by a returning officer.
It wasn't done
of the Electoral Commission.
No, it wasn't done by a returning officer.
Who did it?
The man who did it, I'm told, is the Metro Metro Director for Tama, the municipal, municipal director for Tama West.
Was that person an electoral officer?
Yes, yes.
But not a returning officer?
Yes, please.
And they had to then bring the Tama West returning officer to come and do this?
You see, I'm talking about on Monday, December 10th. The one who did the declaration is from Tama West. He's also not a returning officer. I'm told he's the municipal director.
My point exactly. Then it means that in both instances, and that is one of the points they raise about this other person who also was brought in to make a declaration. But my question basically...
But he is from Tama Central. He's from Tama Central.
The second person was from Tama
Central? Yes, he's from Tama Central, yes.
Okay.
He's the assistant returning officer.
And deputy assistant, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer was playing on words, saying it is important. That nomenclature doesn't even exist.
I don't want to go
as far as... Why don't you want to go?
You see, we were there. The EC officers were there. The man who, the returning officer for Tama Central, Mr. Kwesi Broby, said that his life was under attack. He couldn't sleep at home. The wife, so many things. Based on that, he was willing to waive his right. So that they brought in his assistant.
And this assistant had been known to both of your parties,
of course,
throughout the process?
Yes, yes. In fact, he was the one doing the announcement when we were at the police command. He did the numbering, mentioning all those figures.
Just give me a quick one, Dr. Tanko. Had you known of this assistant at the start of the process?
Ben, like I rightly put, initially when we started, I said there is nothing like a deputy returning officer.
No, I got that point. I just want a brief one. Did you know of any such person at the outset?
They recruited. They have a lot of staff members who work at the EC there. And so when they at the collation center, they have a number of people who assist the returning officer in carrying out their duty. But when it comes to the real decision making, it is the returning officer, not the assistant. The assistant have no business there.
I'll give you 30 seconds when I return. Let's wrap this conversation. 30 seconds. So are you in any way concerned about your position going into the 9th Parliament?
No, we are motivated to work even more because we need to claim back the presidency. We need to work more. There's nothing. It's a normal game, as I keep saying.
You need to claim back the presidency?
Yes, it comes 2028.
It's interesting you bring that up. Yes, I've noted many things said about why you lost. Have you even contemplated why you lost before you think of regaining the presidency?
I mean, it's a strategical approach. We are working in so many, but the issue is we need to win the presidency. We have 2028 contender. We lost, but we all know the issue. We in the party know why we lost. We are working on it assiduously.
Okay, yes. All right. That's it, right? You have no concerns?
No.
Getting into the 9th Parliament?
I mean...
placing your boots to work?
To work. And also, nobody can threaten anybody. I mean, we are all men. You understand? Some of us are quiet and silent.
What do you mean by you are all men?
We are all men because I keep saying that. People are saying that, I will come and burn your house. Everybody is a man. But when push comes to shove...
Who has said he will come and burn?
I mean, there are so many threats out there. You have EC officer openly saying that he cannot do it because his life is in danger. That of his family. Nobody should threaten anybody.
All right.
You see, let us...
Rashid Tanko Computer, you have the final word.
Computer. You are a computer man. Do the numbers. It is a number game. Let us do the numbers, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Computer, final words.
Well, Ben, as he rightly put it, it's a numbers game. We did the numbers and we beat you people very well. We beat you both presidential and parliamentary. So we know the numbers we are dealing with.
Contextualize
we didn't miss words in our numbers. We were very clear in our mind with our numbers. And that's why we beat you very well in the presidential and beat you handsomely again in parliamentary. So we are very clear in the numbers. And we are not going to allow this illegality to stay. We will prevent it through legal means and make sure that the right person is put in parliament. Not because, the argument is that we have won plenty of seats, so why are we worried with this one? Yes, the people voted for the right people, not some crooked electoral officers who come and manipulate the process to get their cronies in parliament. We won't allow it.
All right. Thank you very much. And this has been quite the conversation with Dr. Rashid Tanko, Computer. He is Deputy Head of IT and Elections with the National Democratic Congress. In the studio, we also had the recently declared Member of Parliament for TMA Central. TMA Central, I beg your pardon. TMA Central. And of course, that is going to be contested per the NDC's motion, their writ at the Supreme Court. But as of now, we can only wish you the best on that journey as you get into the 9th Parliament.
Thank you.
Well, before we get into our next conversation, if you're thinking of this Christmas doing something amazing, I'm going to tell you about the most epic deals out there. Get the best prices on premium brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Midea, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, itel, and many more. If you're thinking of laptops, desktops, printers, TVs, air conditioners, fridges, home theaters, mobile phones, CCTV, and many more, well, there's only one place to go. I'll tell you shortly, but you can win instant gifts and cash prizes up to 2,000 Ghana Cedi just for answering a question this December at, haven't you guessed yet? CompuGhana. Visit your nearest CompuGhana branch nationwide or shop online at www.compughana.com. All you have to do, pick up your phone, call 0302 752 020 to make those relevant inquiries. Merry Christmas from all of us at CompuGhana. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back on the AM show, and we get into our conversation, our next big conversation. Now, in the course of the week, we're going to be interacting with some of those who have had a lot of issues to discuss, a lot of issues brought to bear in different facets of our national life. And today we're having a conversation as well with the importers and exporters. But before I get to my guest, have you thought of an ideal Christmas present? Have you? Have you given it a thought? Well, make Syntex Tank the perfect Christmas present in all homes. This Christmas, gift a Syntex Tank to your family to give your family access to clean water, especially with everything we know happening with cholera and all that. You can't take it for granted. It will last you a lifetime. No matter where you are in the country, just call 0244 335 168 and we will make it happen. Don't make it rice. Don't make it oil. Wamasa a day. Make it Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, are you strong? Are you tough? Well, back to that conversation. So the year in review, and we're hosting this morning the importers and exporters. We're hearing from their representatives on how the year has been for their businesses. Joining me in the studio, the man helming the Importers and Exporters Association. I'm talking about none other than Samson Asaki Awingobit. He joins the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
All right. We also have Guta joining the conversation, the Ghana Union of Traders Association. I'll be getting their representative on the conversation shortly. But let me start with you, Samson. When it comes to the importers and exporters, what has 2024 been like so far?
Well, a very good morning to yourself. It's been a long time.
It has. You've not been looking for your brother.
No, but I think we've been talking via Zoom mostly because of digitalization. Is that not it?
Well, we have.
And so good morning to cherished viewers and my very good senior brother, Dr. Joseph Obeng. I'm told he will be joining us. I'm sure he's monitoring by now.
Dr. Obeng, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right.
Online, okay.
Now I'm sure I have you on the conversation. Dr. Joseph Obeng, of course, he is also helming Guta. Good to have you. Yes, back to you, Samson.
So I strongly believe that 2024 was a very terrible year, has been terrible to business community because of where the city gotten us to. And a lot of business people have lost their capital, inflation, and then $1 was hovering between 16, 17, and that has been a challenge to the business community. Of course, you know about the taxes. I heard your producer talking about taxes. You know that it was one of the areas that we, the business community, has been hammering. In fact, the 2023-2024 budget that was presented in November 2023, we were thinking that there would have been some reduction of taxes, but we rather saw an increase of taxes. VAT is now 15% at the port because there was added 1.2 or so to it. COVID levy, which we think that COVID should have gone off, yet COVID was also brought in, and a whole lot. And then, of course, upfront tax at the port, VAT upfront tax, which is 2.5 or so, is at the port. Of course, when the city started misbehaving, then customs, of course, every week customs will have to increase or adjust their system in calculating the duty. And that's why, you see, I was happy this morning. I met Kofi, one of your colleagues. He was crying that he brought some car and the duty alone was hovering around 100 and something. And they say, Asake, is that how you people are suffering? I said, it's good that you, as a media person, you brought in a car and you're feeling the heat. So when you come to sit on TV and we are talking about business community are really, really going through hard times, you will now understand. You will now understand. So that has been the challenge that we have. In fact, the worst narrow in business transactions is when your currency has problems in terms of not being stabilized. The stability of the city is very key to us. And so any government that is unable to work to control the city from further depreciating and from further misbehaving with the dollar, then of course, business people are looking very well. And I can tell you that one of the cardinal points that really make people could not even import. There are many people who have not been able to import the whole year. It's as a result of the...
That is members of your group who have not been able to import.
And I think that if you go to the market today, they will tell you that, market women will tell you that they have challenges. Goods is getting shortage. Because I remember vividly around the month of October, September, October, I tried to speak to some business people and they said, look, Mr. Sake, I'm not going to import. I'm going to wait till election, after election before. So all those people, because normally between that period, that is why we then order for Christmas goods. Okay, so I can tell you, rice importers who told me that you used to bring like full load of ship, said, no, I'm not going to bring anything. The only thing I'll do is that I have already supplied my goods. I would rather go around, collect my debts, and then wait and fold my arms and wait and see what will happen.
So for you, 2024 has been a very bad year.
It has been a very challenging time. Turbulent times for business community, yes.
Hold for me there. Let me bring in Dr. Joseph Obeng, who is head of GUTA. Doc, what would be your reflection on 2024 as far as businesses in your bracket are concerned, the Ghana Union of Traders Association?
Thank you very much. The issue confronting businesses for the past year, that's 2024, has been the depreciation of the cedi. That's the increasing rate of the foreign exchange. The major factor that influence and affect the key economic indicators, that's inflation, interest rate, and stability of the local currency, has been the foreign exchange. Going back to the preceding years of 2022, we started the year with the exchange rate of 6.4 Ghana cedis and ended the year with 15.5 Ghana cedis, resulting to a depletion of capital of about, say, 52%. So the inflation also peaked to about 54%, and the interest rate also has gone up almost 40%. From the second quarter of 2023, the last quarter to the last quarter of the year, also saw some stability of the local currency that averaged around 12.5 Ghana cedis to the dollar. So it started going up somewhere in December through to 2024, where it peaked around 16.5 to 17 Ghana cedis, which also resulted with the depletion of capital of about further another 20%. Cost of doing business has generally been very high, as you already know. Duty payment has gone up the roof due to the fact that duty payment is benchmarked with the ever-increasing dollar rate. Payment has always been benchmarked with the ever-increasing forex rate. Increase in utilities also did not help at all. It led to the increase in cost of manufacturing and other costs of running our businesses. Cascading effects of the VAT, as Asaki was also saying, had also not helped at all. Cost of borrowing is still very high during this period. Freight charges has also gone up. All these factors affected the prices of goods and services in the market, even though inflation has dropped to 23%. This coupled with the fact that 2024 being an election year also slowed down businesses. That's our turnover got reduced drastically because of the prices, high prices of goods, and also the fact that we're in the election period. So essentially, this has been the plight of businesses during this time, because inflation is the pain, and the stability of the local currency has been the pain, and that's what businesses thrive on. And all these indicators were not right for businesses.
Join us, TV. Join us.
I see. Now, both of you have made mention of quite a number of things, from inflation to interest rates to the cedi and the lack of stability to VAT to a reduced turnover. Both of you are saying practically the same thing. But let me ask you, were there any positives in this year? Were there any positives in 2024 that you feel are worthy of note? For example, the cedi has appreciated a bit against other currencies, but some economists say this is not going to be stable. It's not going to remain for long. Were there any positives that we can celebrate that took place for business in 2024?
Okay, so inflation is a very serious problem when it comes to doing business, especially when the purchasing power of the Ghanaian is also not improving. And so I told you the inflation peaked to about 54% during the year of last quarter of 2022. Then it has been navigated by Bank of Ghana or whatever the strategy had been, and then it has reduced to about 23%. The monetary policy rate that has been all high also came to about 29%, also bringing down the interest rate. So if we look at these things, and then of course we can see, and then the latter part of the year also saw some semblance of stability in the local currency, even though it was not drastically down. And so these are some of the positive that I can say. But you know, it is still on the higher side that you cannot say that they are serious positives. And that's why we need to do even more to bring these indicators further down, to help boost businesses in the country.
All right. Dr. Obeng, hold for me. So I just pushed Dr. Joseph Obeng to the wall that both of you have spoken about all the problems. How about any bright spots in the year? And he says, yes, there were a few things here and there. At least inflation came down and a few other things. But they were no serious positives that could make an impact. Is that your position as well?
Actually reflect in people's pocket. Hence, the purchasing power of Ghanaians couldn't upgrade it. All this instability of the currency and the inflation that he's talked about, and the taxes that the government increases on us, we do not see the same thing replicating in increasing of salaries and allowances of Ghanaian workers.
Yes, but you know that
and
when
so
it comes to increments,
it becomes
especially public sector salaries.
Yes,
that is few and far between.
Yes, so it become stagnant. People are still spending within what they were having for so many years, even though despite the fact that, as he said, the inflation has come down. The prime rate, the rate that the Bank of Ghana is using in order to make commercial banks increase their interest rate, is on somewhere 22 point something, right? Came down to 22.
I've not checked the latest figures.
Yet, when you go to the commercial banks, you will never see any reduction in their interest loans. If you go to bank now to borrow, at West, you will get
around
38, 29,
30% thereabouts.
You get it. So how will business people, how will you survive in this? How will you go? When our colleagues are South African and others are borrowing at 6%, at 10% per annum. So clearly,
in other words, you can't compete.
Yeah, so when we talk about success, maybe the only success I will say is that we had peace in Ghana. And business thrive on peace and stability. Is that not it? But if you have peace and the people packets are not good, you will suffer. So that is where we saw people saying that I can no longer import because my cost is more than what I'm gaining. Because if you are in business, we are in business to make profit, isn't it? But if consistently month by month sales, you are making losses. You have friends. I saw you make an advert for some people. Go and ask them. They will tell you, month by month, consistently, they make loss of revenue because of that inflation is catching up with them. So where is the success? Where is the brightest time that you want me to sit here and say, oh, yes, it's true, Mr. Kwako, we really make profit. We haven't made profit. We made losses. And that is why people are winding up. And that's why people are even relocating. Many companies have relocated to Africa, our neighboring country here. Because their economy is doing extremely very well. And we are not. Even introducing COVID levy, still we could not sustain. So I can tell you, I didn't see the bright things that you want me to talk. Then I'll tell you that is the peace, stability, political peace. Even though election 2024 was crucial, people were talking about do and die affair. At the end of the day, Ghanaians said nobody blood was there. So we don't want any do and die affair. We vote. We want to post.
Some people lost their lives, unfortunately.
Yes, but as compared to what happens in previous election, I don't think the temperature is the same. So that is the only thing. So maybe when the new government comes in with their policies of trying to abolish taxes and other things, then business can pick it up from there.
We'll get there shortly.
Yes.
That's the next step. But let me just get personal with both of you. Both of you head institutions that deal in a lot of trade, commerce, right? I'll start with you. Personally, you are also an importer, exporter. What was your personal experience? Did you run into losses in 2024? No one does business unless it's maybe an NGO that simply wants to break even.
I've just told you. You asked me.
No, I'm asking you as an... I'm not asking... Initially, you started speaking for the importers and exporters.
So
you said some could not even do this and that. And I'm asking, did you, as Samson Asaki Awingobit, did you incur losses in 2024 in
there is
business?
No... You don't single me as a person. I'm just telling you the general assessment of the economy so far as 2024 was concerned in business community, which I'm part. And I just tell you that there have been losses. Nobody make profits. And I just told you that if I'm even using the word 40% man-by-man revenue. When I say man-by-man, I'm talking about sales. Sales that we do in monthly basis. The strength of it has dropped. The percentage that it has dropped. That's what I'm telling you. And I'm telling you it's as a result of why? We do business on people who patronize the product. Is that not it? And then I'm telling you that the purchasing power of Ghanaians really went down. Unless you tell me that your purchasing power has been very...
You can also have in the same pool, just as we saw under COVID, a lot of people increased their wealth by billions in the US and other places on the back of COVID. The same thing that destroyed some businesses made some people become ultra wealthy. Yes. So even as you talk about the general situation, it could be that for Samson Asaki Awingobit, for some reason, you did well in business. Is that not possible?
Whilst we are dealing with the dollar, CD to the dollar.
Okay, so your simple answer is
dollar to the CD.
You did not do well in terms of business.
Exactly.
Let me come to Dr. Bing. If I'm to get surgical with you personally, on a personal basis, how was 2024 for you personally in terms of business?
Yeah. So what I realized was that my stocks, that's at my warehouse, keep depleting. Even though my capital in terms of CDs was the same, it hasn't reduced. But then the stock itself was not improving like before. You know, the reason why my stocks were depleting was that I was not able to bring the same volumes of goods that I used to bring. Because so let's say, for instance, the dollar was somewhere 12 in 2023 October. It means that if I need $100,000, I have to go for 1.2 million Ghana cedis for $100,000. When the dollar peaked at 17, and somewhere October 2024, it means that I have to go and fund a top-up of about 500,000 Ghana cedis to be able to get the same $100,000. If I'm unable to get that, it means that this time around, the goods that I use $100,000 to buy, I cannot buy the same quantity of goods. And so I haven't used my money to do any bad thing, but yet I'm not able to bring the same quantities that I used to bring, and thereby depleting my stocks.
So and depleted stocks, did that also, of course, that would lead to depleted profits as well, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, because if you bring more, then you sell, then you get more. If you bring little, I mean, it commensurates with the quantities that we bring. And so definitely, and that's why we said that the exchange rate is something that no business person like it. Because when the cedi depreciates, it means that you are suffering depreciation of your capital, your stocks, your fiscal capital, and all that. The cedi volume, the cedi that you'll be holding will be the same capital that you have. In terms of cedis, it will be the same. But in terms of real capital, because we do not use a cedi to transact internationally. So in that case, your capital actually depletes. Yeah.
I see. Let's now get into what your expectations are of the incoming administration. I don't know whether you still have any expectations between now and January the 6th. I don't know. If you do, you can mention them. But when the incoming administration comes through, what then would be your expectations in terms of what must be done? For example, a flat rate of VAT, for example, the cedi and stabilizing it. What are your expectations for the incoming administration to make business people feel better and do better?
You see, if you look at the results of this year's election, people have actually voted on basis of the economy, high cost of doing business, high the prices in the market and all that. So it is obvious that the new administration should recognize that they do everything to bring down the cost of doing business in this country. That will also trickle down the lessening the prices of goods and services in the market. I think this one nobody will have to tell anybody. This is the first thing that we have to be thinking about. And if we will be able to achieve that, it means that we have to do everything to stabilize the local currency. That's what drives the other indicators of the economy. If the currency, there's instability of the cedi, it depreciates and all that, the exchange rate goes up, it throws everything out of proportion. It sends inflation high, interest rates also go up, and then these are the areas that also make businesses thrive. And so we have to do everything, because if you say the private sector is the engine of growth, for which our incoming president have been dwelling on, he said that he's going to concentrate on businesses as a way to generate employment and all that. It means that if we are an engine of growth, then we have to put the necessary lubricants in this engine. And these are some of the things. Then also, we have to streamline the taxes, our tax system. I mean, we need to streamline it. Our tax system is so complex, and there are so many, and then the amount is, the rate of taxes are very high, and it does not help. We have to streamline to make it more simplified and more affordable.
So let me ask you on the taxes very briefly. Are you in agreement for the COVID-19 levy, e-levy, betting tax? Are you in agreement for them to go?
But you have been interviewed me so many times, and we're saying that.
What is your current position?
And once COVID was no more, we don't need it on the table.
So one down.
Even if we're saying about the special import levy, there were so many of these taxes that we deemed as nuisance taxes, and that need to be off the table, seriously.
Okay.
So those things that have been promised by the incoming administration should be looked at. Even though I'll also be quick to say that our expectations should be measured in a way so that we do not also stampede the new government from making any mistakes. So about all this, we have to do constant stakeholder engagement so that people will understand the issues, and then we'll also help the government to achieve its goals and aspirations for the generation of Ghanaians. So it's very important that we do this. Stakeholder engagement at this time is very important. Okay. Should not be the same way that few technocrats will go and plan some policy and then come and impose on the generality of the bigger stakeholders. That has not helped us in the past, and it will also not help us going forward. So we have to do everything together. The government should look at the huge goodwill that is enjoying now as a way of support, massive support that we are giving to the government, the new government, to be emboldened to take prudent decisions for us, or for us to have the respite that we need, especially to grow our businesses and also for the generality of the Ghanaian.
A quick one on the VAT regime. Do you think anything should happen there?
Yeah, VAT should be flat rated, and it should be simplified. If you have been following Twitter, you have always been saying that we needed the flat rate system that will make our business, if not anything, if it is even being done with the standard rate, then we should be clear that the taxes should be so simplified and be made affordable so that compliance will become very high. The key to revenue enhancement is nothing else than compliance. So if you do not do anything to ensure compliance, then you are not helping at all. Okay. And that's why the fixed tax system that is being proposed by the new administration is also very welcome. And for me, this is a game changer. I'll be using this game changer around the flat tax system and then the fixed tax system all this time. Because I think that if we make the duty payment very fixed, like is being proposed for the spare parts business and all that, and if it is only going to be also extended to the other product lines and all that, it's going to help us. Okay. So that your duty payment will be in the know in advance, and then when the goods come, you just pay, and the post-clearance things and all that will be the thing of the past. These are very important. And also, I'm expecting that will give us the tax amnesty that we so need so that we can also start afresh. The wrongdoings being forgiven, because there's nowhere that businesses as it's structured here in this part of the world, you can do everything perfectly. And so there might be some wrongs. So if you all want to start well, then our past should be forgiven, and then we start very much afresh, where everybody will be cautioned to do the right thing. And then government will have its worth of revenue. Businesses will also thrive, because we do not have to overprice due to the produce of our industries, due to excessive taxation. That's why people say that we have to move away from taxation to production. And it should make a lot of sense and meaning that we should understand that we do not have to overprice us out of production. Because you produce and you have to sell, and the produce have to be competitive so that you can offload your produce to the neighboring countries and elsewhere.
Of course, the more you rake in, of course, even if the rates are low, the state will still benefit and derive the revenue it needs to develop.
Exactly.
But let me come to Mr. Awingobit. Your counterpart on the other end has spoken about tax amnesties. He's spoken about the flat rate VAT. He's spoken about proper engagement with organizations like yours to ensure that proper policy frameworks are brought to bear to make businesses not just survive, but thrive. Your expectations of the incoming administration would be what exactly?
Well, just to alert my senior comrade, I think the incoming government, the NDC, in their manifesto, did not promise tax amnesty. It was the New Patriotic Party. It was Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who promised, and also the flat rate that he said he was going to bring. But I think I will agree with Dr. Obe that we can appeal this to the new incoming government, that things that Bawumia said, some of the things were very good. If they can adopt it and then use it, it will help. Because
so which ones do you agree with? The tax amnesty?
Tax amnesty, yes.
Okay. So let's all have a clean sheet, start afresh.
Exactly. Then also, the way of filing of taxes is too cumbersome. They need to streamline that thing as well for us. I think I agree with Dr. Ben on that score. The VAT system, the 15% is on the high. In sub-Sahara here, we are the highest. We are not just paying the VAT. Sometimes you pay the VAT and you pay net VAT. I don't understand what is called net VAT and others. So I think that they have to look at it. The COVID levy is important. That I think John Mahama even said in his 120 days, the COVID levy would go, the mobile money e-levy would go, and of course, you know, importers pay so much duties and taxes using transactions through the e-levy. the mobile money platform. So it's really, really affecting them. So I think it's going to help. The betting tax, of course, he also promised. I think what I didn't see there was the 2% special import levy tax that Dr. Ben just talked about. And I think that they should also look at it as well for the business community.
Which 2%?
Yes, there's a, when the MPP came in 2017, there was a budget that abolished 1% special import levy. And the special import levy were 1% and then 2%. The 2% was still running. So it was supposed to go off in 2017.
So the 1% was taken off, but the 2% was retained.
Yes, and that 1% is the e-levy, the COVID levy that was brought in again. Okay, so that is it. I think this week I also make proposal to the, was appealing to the president-elect that if he comes to office, this norm of my party has come and we are appointing ambassadors, and ambassadors think that it is a reward to them because their party has come to government, and that they will just go and come back without bringing anything. Where I sit, where Dr. Ben sit, the different countries' ambassadors, the France ambassadors, the German ambassador to Ghana, the American ambassador, they knock our doors. Why? They come to, sometimes, a department called Poultry in America, Poultry Department, will come to Ghana and ask me that Ghana is importing so much frozen chicken. So which country did you go? They also have good quality and premium chicken. So I should advise our people to come there and then pick it from them. So they bring their producers to get buyers from them, link them up. What it means is that we cannot just appoint ambassadors to just go and be serving, but we should also give them target to say, look, the country in which you are going to represent the president, the treat Atagay, you have this target to bring back to the country. What it means is that let's identify what that country needs from Ghana. If it is pepper, if it is our yam, if it is our basket weavers in Bolga, it is about tie and dye batik. Then you also look into Ghana here through the traders unions. We can tell, okay, if this commodity, this is this region, this is a district, or this is where you can get them. The group are here. Then you can encourage them to produce more because you are going to link them to buyers there who will also come to buy from us. You get it. Right. That is where we can bring, so that we can emphasize more on non-traditional commodity export. What Ghana will always, when we see the export, mostly it is the yam, it is the cocoa, it's the gold, magazine, and bauxite. But we are not doing so much concentrating to say, look, we must this year, we want more pepper to go out of the country, we want more okra, so that those people can grow. The 24-hour economy, that is the area that we can look at and can expand and can tap into it. Okay, so that if you make your ambassador know that, look, when you go to China, your ambassador to Ghana from Ghana, please make sure that we find out what Chinese need from Ghana. It is shea butter. Let us come back and link the shea butter producers to those companies. That is the way to go. So that more forests will come, and this city depreciation will no longer be there. It's because you are not any more forest, export forests. That is why we are having there's pressure on the little reserve that we have at the Bank of Ghana.
In other words, we shouldn't have diplomats merely for the sake of being
and be rewarded. No,
but they must go there and seek Ghana's economic interests, commercial interests. I mean, there are other things they do.
Yes, I know.
Prominent
bilateral narratives. Yes,
is this bit.
Yes, but what I see, if they tell the American ambassador will want to look our doors because they want to link we should tell them our buyers to link with their producers there.
So why can't you
look at their chambers of commerce? Look at their GDP there. Huge, is that not it? Yeah. But they still look every day. They still knock our doors. Okay. The other aspect is give proper utility package to the manufacturers. The AGI and their members to produce more quality with cheaper. Then we can distribute. If there's surplus, we can also export to our neighboring country. That's where after Africa Continental Free Trade can also boom. Okay, that's the way. Then of course, yes, we think that the current government or the incoming government has promised Ghanaians a lot, and Ghanaians also went and give them that resounding victory. I do not think that if Ghanaians are asking for their cake of the national share, it will be too much. Yes, I agree, but I think the president even promised that he would like to do more consultations, more engagement, public fora, so that together we can all prepare and see the way forward to move. That is the way to go. his manifesto alone was a sign of engagement. They came to us, they went to Guta, they went to other AGI and others, they met with them before they bring the proposal. We know all about it, we know what is in the manifesto, the NDC manifesto. So together, we can all push that 24 economy to make sure that we grow Ghana steadily. That's the way to go. And that is where the inflation can fall flat. That is where interest rate can come down. That is where prime rate can come down. These are the indicators that can bring these things. And so I can tell you, in as much as we want to import, we want to export more.
Right. So
that we can bring more forest back to cushion our city and protect our city from further depreciation from where it is. As we speak, we have sometimes 14, sometimes 15. It's been fluctuating. It's because of the pressure. And it's because if government doesn't get cocoa syndicated loan to come, and Bank of Ghana will say, I'm pushing $400 million or $4 million into the market every 2 weeks, or
then the pressure remains.
Then the pressure comes.
Right. Let me also bring in Mark Bedu Abwaje. He is CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the GNCCI. Mark, good morning.
Hey, how are you doing?
I am well, oh. How about you?
By God's grace.
We thank the Lord. What has the year been like? I mean, helming the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I know things have been rough, but what picture would you paint for us in terms of how 2024 has treated your businesses?
I think 2024, the recovery that we were expecting from late 2023 was quite slow for us. I mean, if you look at the indicators that we were expecting that at least it would trend downwards to create the right environment for businesses, we didn't actually experience that. And I guess it has been said by others. All the indicators, with the exception of inflation that we saw trending downwards to 20 and then came back to 23, even within that, food inflation went up. Interest rates was relatively high. The taxes, nothing really changed about the taxes, something that we have said over and over again. Nothing changed. And then the city depreciation also worsened along the line, and to the latter part of the year that Bank of Ghana pumped a lot of dollars into the system, that we saw some stability, which for us, it doesn't look like going to be sustained into the long run. So all these indicators worked actually against the businesses. The performance was not as expected. It was a bit harsh, but we are hopeful that in the years to come, things will improve. I mean, if you look at the numbers from our members in the third quarter, it wasn't too good, but it's better actually than what we experienced in 2022 and 2023. So comparatively, actually with 2022 and 2023, it's quite okay. We saw some little bit of improvement. There was also a high level of certainty actually following the completion of the restructuring, certainty and also confidence also returned into the economy. So 2024 actually wasn't as expected, but it was better than 2023 and 2022.
Very briefly, in about 30 seconds, if I asked you, what are your expectations of the incoming administration? What can they do to help commerce, business in Ghana? What would you say? Very briefly.
Well, we are expecting that they create the right environment for businesses. And then the indicators that we are expecting that they should improve is for interest rates to come down. Okay. At the current level, no business can borrow at the rate and expect that they'll make profit. It is for that reason that even the non-performing loans are also going up. If you look at the numbers from the banks.
Right.
Also, I think they should also overhaul the tax system and the tax administration. The tax is so complex, they are so confusing, the rates are so high, compliance is so low, that it creates a lot of problems for businesses. I will specifically look out for an overhaul of our VAT system. Nowhere in this world that you see a standard VAT system being added to a levy that you cannot deduct or take as input VAT from some of the total VAT. So our normal VAT, standard VAT system is 15%. They have close to 6% of levy, which becomes a direct cost to businesses. I'm expecting that they have a VAT system that businesses can also claim for input VAT, the levies are also too many and too high.
Okay.
So I expect that there also, of course, the depreciation of the cedi. In most of these issues that we are facing, the root cause is that the cedi is depreciating and it affects almost everything.
Okay.
So we have to try as much as possible to stabilize the cedi and, if possible, also improve its performance. And that will require that we have to do a lot of support to businesses. Most of the things that we are importing, I believe we can produce them here. So we don't need to take the hard dollar to go and import toilet roll. 2023, we spent $100 million on the toilet roll. 2023, we spent $600 million on importation of flour. Olam Agri and 4 other companies, given the support, can produce flour that can meet the demand of Ghana and also export.
Mark,
they are suffering.
Right, we have to go, but thank you very much for joining the conversation. That is Mark Bedu-Aboagye, CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I'd like to thank my friend in the studio who joined the conversation, Samson Asaki Awingobit of the Importers and Exporters Association, and my other friend, whom I saw recently at church, Dr. Joseph Obeng, head of GUTA. Yadamwase. Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
All right. And this is how we take a breather here. We'll be back with more action on the AM show. Do stay with us. This is the AM show, and before we leave, Sika Nukrum, but people still go chill this Christmas. The question is, where you go chill? If you don't have a place in mind, or even if you have some place you've been going to, look, I'd like to introduce you to the MJ Grand Hotel. And my guests joining me in the studio will be telling you why. Charles Yao Jagri is head of marketing at the MJ Grand Hotel. We also have Peter Ofori. He's a restaurant supervisor. He joins the conversation. You they come to the studio for bring some food. But let me start with Charles about MJ Grand Hotel. Tell us about this unique hotel.
Yes, thank you, Benjamin. Yes, so MJ Grand Hotel is a 3-star hotel located in the heart of the city, specifically East Legon, on the Abuchiman Street. We provide a wide range of services for our guests. We have 42 spacious guest rooms, including apartments and suites. We provide free Wi-Fi for all our in-house guests. We also provide airport shuttle, that's airport drop-off and pick-up for all our guests. At the same time, we provide restaurant services as well. We have a gym, we have a swimming pool for all our in-house guests to enjoy. So effectively, that is a little bit about MJ Grand Hotel.
Okay, that's interesting. And if I were to just go on and ask you, you say you are unique. Yeah. You are different. You stand out in your class of hotels. Yeah. What makes you stand out?
Yes, so thank you. So for us at MJ Grand Hotel, we know that this hospitality industry is very, very competitive. And if you want to sustain yourself in the industry, you have to do things differently. Otherwise, you are going to face a lot of challenges. In fact, you'll be kicked out of the market. So for us at MJ Grand Hotel, we pride ourselves as one of the best when it comes to customer service. We make sure we organize training programs for our staff to be able to meet the modern trends of customer service delivery. Aside from that, we know that our guests demand value for the money that they pay. And so we make sure we provide them with quality service. As part of this package, we make sure we have personalized, tailor-made packages for especially our corporate guests at very, very discounted rates. So you are going to have value for your money. You are also going to get the best when it comes to customer service. This makes us This makes us very unique. When you come, you are going to get the best of customer service. You're also going to get the value for your money. That makes us stand out. Yeah.
All right. You're going to get the very best at affordable cost.
Very, very discounted rates.
Let me come to CFAS. Are you surprised I'm calling you CFAS?
Yeah.
You are Peter?
Yes.
Do you know why I'm calling you CFAS?
No, please.
Oh, the Bible, the rock. You know Peter was CFAS, right? So Peter Ofori, I intentionally wanted to put you there. you are a restaurant supervisor.
Yes, please.
What makes your restaurant stand out? What do you do that people should look out for this season?
Thank you so much for your question this morning. Okay, so like you rightfully asked, our restaurant, the ambience alone of the restaurants will give you the appetite that you need for the food.
Chai.
And also, with the top-notch customer service we render to our customers. So I think not all restaurants have that ambience and the top-notch customer service. When it comes to customer service, like, welcoming the guest, ushering the guest, seats, and giving them that warm welcome to the restaurant, giving them the appetite to purchase your food. And
so the appetite before the appetite. I see. And your delicacies, what are some of the things? Do you do local? Do you do...
So we do both locals and continental dishes.
I see.
Yes, please.
So whatever it is that they are looking for,
you get in MJ.
You're likely to get it at the MJ Grand.
In fact, our food is one of the best when it comes to the industry. Our corporates, customers who have patronized our services over there to attest to the fact that our food is very, very, very delicious. You would like to come and taste them.
I see.
Yeah.
Tell us about your 14th anniversary and everything that is going on. I'll come to Charles for that. And I'll also come to you briefly on what we can expect by way of the 14th anniversary meals.
Okay.
So as part of the 14th anniversary, we started a series of activities to mark this 14th year anniversary. 14 years in this industry is not a joke.
Right.
It's a lot. So we also try to give back to society. And so as part of the activities, we have done some donations to some orphanages in the Ashanti region, Tepa to be specific. As we speak, we are also going to embark on another donations to some selected orphanages in Accra tomorrow. And we will be organizing a party for kids at MJ Grand Hotel. So these are some of the few activities that we've lined up, which we are also giving back to society as part of our corporate social responsibility.
Right. And for you, Peter, those of us who are foodies, we are interested in the eating part. What do you have for us?
Okay, so as part of our 14th anniversary, so there's a 20% discount running on all our room rates.
Mention that again.
20% discount running on
20%.
On all our room rates, including the suites and the apartments. And also we're running a 20% discount on our pizza sales. So when you buy a large pizza or small pizza and medium-sized pizza, you're going to get a full or a large meat pie for a free cost.
Oh, wow.
Yes, please.
Okay. So the freebies are going round. They are very generous. So clients have every good reason to reach out to you. Charles, how can they reach MJ Grand Hotel?
Yes, so for our front desk, you can reach our front desk on 054. Let me take that again. 054 027 4463.
You'd have to slow down so that they can actually...
So you can reach our front desk on 054 027 4463. You can also reach us on 0247 02477 50908.
Can you repeat that?
0247 53908. Alternatively, you can reach us on our social media handles and
Facebook,
Peter
MJ Grand Hotel, Instagram, MJ Grand Hotel, TikTok, mjgrandhotel.gh. And also with the website, www.mjgrandhotelghana.com.
I see. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Charles Yao Jagri is head of marketing at the MJ Grand Hotel, and Peter Ofori is a restaurant supervisor. And on this delicious note, we're signing off. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Joy News Desk is up next. Thank you for joining the conversation.